It's like reticulating splines.
Gleaming the cube.
Hey, what was the name of that guy that you liked the music of? The
Harris Heller, Stream Beats.
Harris Heller Stream Beats.
And now he has different album or different categories. There's like an EDM category, there's a lo-fi, and like an ambient one or something like that.
Sweet.
Whoa, we're live.
Hey, I just noticed in chat, Steven said that we no Trump bashing and he loves it. So we'll have to change that at some point. We don't want him getting too comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I think we're live. It's just I got the coming soon thing up on the screen so I can do some calibration before we properly start here. Okay, it says we've been live for like 38 seconds. All right, guys. Well, welcome to the stream. We're just getting set up right now. It's always a smooth setup with this stream.
Well,
so
there's the end of that. Yep.
Hang with us. I know it wouldn't be Tech Talk without some kind of difficulties.
It won't be a main thing though, Steven. Don't worry. We don't do politics rubs on technology. It can't help it. TikTok ban, WeChat ban, things like that. But the Huawei ban, the blah blah blah. But like, it won't. It's never a major component of the talk. So
no, come on over to my Twitch stream if you want to hear that shit.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Okay, so I got that. That's working. Stream starting soon. I think I got the main scene. I got my camera back. I had to wrestle my camera back from Skype because, you know, Skype is the consumer of all.
Twitter censorship. Yeah, I guess. I mean, we could talk about that.
So here, I'll put on some music here for a second while I go take a pee. Well, actually, do you want to just talk to him while I'm gone?
Here's the trick. You know, it's a private platform, so they can make the rules as they see fit.
That is true.
There are alternative services.
There is. Actually, that's gonna be our first topic. Save that one for the first topic because I got something to say about that. Oh yeah. The whole private platform thing and freedom of speech and all that. It's like, oh my god. I'll explain why people are mad about it too, because that's like it's here. Interestingly
enough, though, Christopher did mention it as censorship, and I suppose by a certain definition of the word censorship, yes, Twitter is allowed to censor whatever they like. It's their their house.
Absolutely right. All right, here, I'm going to put on some Neo Renegade here just for a minute so I can go take a quick piss, and then we're going to get the show on the road.
Man, I love coffee.
Coffee's good. All right, so now I got music playing on the stream, so it might squash it for a second.
If they censored on a private platform, they're considering that platform as a publisher. That'll be an interesting change of the rules. Yeah, because I think I can't recall the name of the rules as they are that keep Facebook and stuff under a certain. They're not publishers, right? But that would be a very interesting change, and yeah. Because that opens up I don't know, some strange things in my opinion. I don't even have Twitter to look at pictures of living cars and planes that Japanese people are on. Oh, sure.
All right, I did a tinkle in the potty pot. I think I'm ready to go.
Keep saying that Traverse media until they censor you. That's like,
you ready to light this candle?
We've talked about, I guess so. We've talked about this before.
Here we go. Boom.
Yeah, and Traverse Media is coming from the right place.
All right, catch me up. I was taking a tinkle.
It's a matter of keep saying that until they censor you. Well, then you go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Is like platforms. It's not censorship if I don't let you in my house to like scream at me in my living room.
And I'm sure you'll say, please look. I've had. Well, actually, no. I tend to stay within the terms of service. Like, you agreed to the rules. Where else? What was that conservative platform that they made up? Fox something or whatever? Twitter does not have a monopoly. They're just the most popular. There are other microblogging services out there. Like,
Twitter's not even the biggest one. Like, Facebook is by like a mile.
It's not a monopoly. There are other options. Like, just because you haven't bothered to look for them, or they're not as popular, it's there.
Yeah, the whole argument of
there is no competition. There are other options. You can go to YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or anything else. Like, there are other microblogging Lefty BS. Okay.
Oh my god.
Fuck this. All right, peace out.
I'm sorry, dude, get out of here. Like you're not. See, just like anything else, you have the right to leave just as much as we have the right to just boot your ass out of here. YouTube has the right to ban you. It's like, dude.
Like, I'm not even trying to like kick them out or block. I haven't censored any of this. Like,
no.
Nobody's saying like that you can't say what you're saying. We're having to talk about how what you're saying is wrong. Like, and that's okay.
He's a victim. He's a victim, and he's feeling victimized. And there's a platform for that. It's called 4chan.
Or a different YouTube channel. Or a different,
exactly.
Like, there is.
You know he didn't leave either. You know he's still in here. I bet you he's still in here.
As a entertainer, as a
sexy
how do I say this? Just as a content creator.
There you go.
And the space that YouTube has provided for us to create our content, we have the right. Like, okay, we'll take this from a small circle and spread out. Within this space that YouTube has given us, we have the right to allow certain sorts of communication and content to be published on our little space here, right? The chat. You guys can say whatever you like within a certain parameter.
Correct.
That we agree on. And I mean we, as in the chat, Jerry and I. We have a social contract in a sense, a relationship in that sense, and we have set a certain expectation. Beyond that, YouTube has a certain set of rules that says we can do whatever we want within the rules that we all agreed on, the terms of service, right? YouTube has given out a bunch of rules that say you can use our platform for whatever you like as long as you stay within the rules as we've laid out. We have a relationship, a social contract, a literal contract in the terms of YouTube relationship. and then beyond that, there are bigger rules that dictate to YouTube what sort of content they are allowed to promote and allow on their platform. YouTube is held to certain rules by the government, I imagine, that they are not allowed to broadcast pornography. Like, that comes under certain rules, you know. No, we're talking about terms of service mostly, Alan. But in from the lens of censorship and allowing certain certain communication things. Personal lefties don't have any argument. They whatever. I don't know, left, right, whatever. That's not important. What's important are what you believe, I guess. Whatever. But yeah, so like I don't have to let you spew whatever words that I don't want you to.
Specifically here, though, they still have the right to go spew it anywhere else that they want if it's within the TOS of that platform. Or they're free to create their own platform. If they want to have a platform where it's just nothing but like some giant Nazi get-together, like they can do that if they want. Like nobody's going to stop them if it's their platform.
There are places for that. Mm-hmm. And like you, what I love is the like mix up the
confusion.
There's like a cognitive dissonance of like, oh, the government's not allowed to like come in and tell companies what they can and can't do. That's government overreach and overregulation and blah blah blah. But when a private company starts doing whatever they want to silence certain like, I don't know, subjects or whatever, now the government should step in and tell them they're not allowed to do that. Yep. It's like, come on, like where do you go make your own Twitter?
Actually, I have a lot to say on this subject. Like, oh my God, do I hear this more than anything? And here's the interesting thing, though. Like, the one thing that I want to point out is they're kind of attacking themselves with the argument that they're making. And let me explain why. Because the reason that you want on a platform is because of the popularity of that platform. You feel entitled to have access to that audience, and if you get cut off from that audience, you feel like you're censored, right? You feel like you've been silenced. But here's the irony of it: is if we let that TOS violation occur, then the channel goes away, and then there is no audience to be in front of in the first place. So you have to look at it from that perspective. That, and I'm not just talking YouTube TOS. I'm even talking like our TOS and the thing. If it was just free for all and anybody could just do whatever the hell they wanted, there'd be no audience here because the vast majority of people don't want that. They're here for some kind of a targeted thing, right? They watch something for a targeted thing. They don't watch something to have 1,000 bots join chat and spam Nazi, 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 Nazi. Like, it's not censorship to make that go away. It's not. It literally is not censorship because you can still go do it anywhere you else. It's exactly the same as if you knock on my door to my house and I let you in and you start calling me like fat ass and I'm like, you know what? I'm getting tired of it. Get out of here. And I close the door. They're not going to be out on my front porch going, you're censoring me. Let me back in. You're censoring me. I can't speak. No, it's like, it's my property. I paid for this house. This is my house. This is where I live. That, like, you do not have the right to come in here without my permission. This YouTube channel and the Twitch channels and every other place, those are my homes. And I have to obey the law of the land, which means if you come into my domain, you have to obey my laws on top of that. And if you're not okay with that, you don't have to be here. To complain is completely asinine because you could be using that time and effort to go build your own platform that's more inviting to the people that you like. And you know what the irony is going to be? I bet you $1 bajillion that you start banning and muting people as soon as they start coming into your stream and they start talking about the opposite of what you like, or trash on you or harass you, unless like the whole point of your platform is literally to see who could one up, each other. Then I could see that not happening. But I see it happen all the time where you see somebody's like, oh my God, you're censoring me. And then you go look at like their little outlets and their social media. It's like they have people in their block list. Why do they have people in their block list if they're so anti-censorship? It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. And so I want to make this absolutely clear. And usually, thank you, honey. I got some water. So I want to make this absolutely clear, and Houston hits on this almost every show at some point, is that this is not a democracy that we have here. This is not. Here on YouTube, on Twitter, whatever channel you go to, you abide by the rules of that land. Otherwise, you just don't be there. It's really that simple. And it's not censorship because I'm not preventing you from saying what you want to say. I'm just not letting you into my house to do it. You're still welcome to go everywhere else. You can go on Reddit, you can go on 4chan, you can go on the freaking dark web, you can go wherever you want and just blast those forums to your heart content and be okay with it. But here's another counter argument that I'd like to make too, is a lot of these people are like, oh my God, it's censorship. You gotta let me say what I want. Well, why aren't you using your real name? Why aren't you using your real address and phone number? Why aren't you in here with like your real identity? Why are you in here with like some identity that doesn't link back to you? And why are you trying to hide your personal details? I'll tell you why, because the shit you're saying, is going to anger people and be controversial. So my argument to you is if you want to say anything you want and do anything you want, fucking nut up, man. Put your name and your address and your phone number and be like, okay, here, I'm going to be who I am. And I'm going to say all this shit. And let's see if you keep saying it. The answer is you won't. I've seen it a million times. You absolutely won't. It's always these alt Twitter troll accounts, Facebook troll accounts. It's never a person who is actually themselves. And so I'm like, just fucking, if you want to be an angry person and you want to scream and call, that's another thing. Why is everybody a victim that is so for like the most victim things in the world? Like the people that are like screaming victim, they're the ones that are like into the whole like censor everything and shut everything down. They just want their version of it censored and shut down. It's never, oh, we want everything. Yeah. That's the other thing too, is it's like, oh my God. It's a very annoying thing. It's a very child mentality. And I'm pretty much done with it. Coffee. We need coffee, man. We need coffee.
I don't know. It's I don't know.
No, it's a good topic though, because I do hear about this a lot. Especially over on my Twitch stream. I hear about this a lot where people are like, oh my God, you just banned that dude for coming in here and spamming something like 45 times. Oh my God, that's so unfair. And it's like, he violated the rules. There's rules when you come in the channel. He violated the rules. He got banned for it. I didn't kick him off the platform. I didn't ban him from the platform. That's the platform's job if he takes it too far. But my point being is, it's like, why are people like defending somebody who's breaking all of the rules when that person themselves wants to like impart their own justice and their own rules on everything? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but rules are important. You do have to have rules. You can't just have like a complete and total lawless society. You can't. It doesn't work, because when you have a lawless society, then you're expecting every single participant in that society to be like intelligent and make good decisions, which simply doesn't happen. That does not happen, because anytime one group of people is really, really trustworthy and really, really accepting and follows the rules, you're always going to have another group of people that takes notice of that and goes, oh, if we break this rule, and this rule, we dominate them and we rule them. And they will. And inevitably, I mean, every single war that's ever happened has pretty much been on that premises. It's like we're gonna take it one step further than you will, and we'll end it that way. But that's why rules are important. And I want to say right now that if you want to create your own platform, go for it. There is nothing stopping you, man. Go rent some bandwidth. Go get yourself an Apache web server. Fire up your shit. Get yourself. And then they're like, oh, but it costs too much bandwidth. It takes too much technology. Exactly. That's why YouTube has the TOS. That's why they have those things, because they want to make it available to the widest possible audience so that they can serve the widest gamut of ads. They can make enough money to support that giant infrastructure. You just answered your own question by saying, oh, but I can't do that. I don't have all the money. I'm not all super rich and everything. It's because you can't run a platform like you want without having rules.
That's it. Well, and it's not just the rules thing too. I found that there have been attempts to create platforms that are targeted toward the more I hesitate to use labels like conservative or right wing or whatever, because like I don't really have a good understanding of those.
Dude, conservatives aren't even conservatives anymore. Neither are Democrats. It's all over the place.
But it's like there have been attempts to create alternative platforms that appeal to those that are not following the more mainstream terms of services, right?
Sure.
The reason they aren't popular is because you're all just talking to yourselves, big circle jerk kind of thing. But two, it's not. They're loud, but y'all aren't really like. There aren't that many. Like you guys are like. It's all. It's not. It doesn't become popular because there aren't enough people who have that similar worldview to make it popular. Like the reason Twitter is popular, the reason these places are YouTube and stuff, is because the rules are broad enough to appeal to the majority of people. And honest to goodness, the people who are getting banned or silenced on these platforms are outliers. They are in the minority. Like otherwise it'd be everywhere. It would be popular. It'd be the big thing.
That would be the TOS at that point, right? If it was the majority, it'd be the TOS, because every platform needs the majority. They either target one of two things. They target the majority, or they'll target the like a very profitable minority. They'll go after like a small group that has a lot of money.
I would say too, there is an argument to be made about how the rules are enforced. Now that's a whole nother conversation, a topic in and of itself, because Twitch is guilty, YouTube, Twitter, all of these platforms are incredibly guilty of not applying the rules equally, or enforcing the rules equally. I understand why they don't ban like Trump's Twitter, regardless of egregious terms of service violations. He is a major public figure. His communications are seen as like official speech of the president, and are not required, but it's like they are archived, and so like they have to leave it up so that there is a record, right?
Yep.
And so I kind of get that, but then at the same time, they like Facebook will delete the campaign account because they're spreading false information.
Twitter does too. Twitter's actually blocked Don Jr. and their Trump campaign multiple times.
But they don't apply that same rule to other people who do similar things.
Correct.
And it seems unfair, And I'm not a fan of the current administration, but like I do feel the rules should be applied equally. If you're going to punish this person for saying this thing, then then it needs to apply to this other guy too, who's doing the same kind of thing. And so it isn't fair to come down hard on a mid-tier person like on Twitch, right? You see these. There was one gal just recently, or earlier this year rather, body painter, got banned for an indefinite, like for terms of service violation.
Yep.
But she posted the content that she got banned for on her Twitter, I think it was, like a clip of the video, and it's no different than previous content that she's created, and no different than other content by people who do the same kind of thing. and so it's like, what the heck? There's no accountability. There's no like responsible. It needs to be applied equally. Like, if you're going to ban somebody for hate speech, then you need to ban this big guy too, who said worse.
And I feel like that's the human element, though. Like, it's kind of luck of the draw at that point, where the human that's enforcing the TOS is making a human judgment call. And you might get the human that doesn't care what you're doing. You might get the human that goes beyond the TOS and punish you. That happens on Twitch quite a bit, where somebody gets punished and then they just revert it because they find out that the staff member or whatever that made the call, like imparted their own personal preferences on top of it. Like, a good example would be like, K-Pike Fashion. She does body painting. Right. Then another person does the exact same thing she's doing, exact to the T. And then they're fine for like 20 episodes, and then they get banned because a bunch of people come in and troll her and report the channel. And then the person's lazy who looks at it and doesn't do the proper comparison, and then just outright just bans them. Like, okay, well, 20 people complained about this, so it must be true. And it's a lazy human that's causing that to happen.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
But at any rate, this is not a democracy. Tech Talk never will be a democracy. We are 100% shared dictatorship. And here's the deal. Here's the rub of it. We really don't care if you disagree with us. That's fine. Like, actually, we welcome disagreements. We welcome debate. We welcome all those things on topics of technology and otherwise. However, if we deem that what you're doing is like completely like just out there trolling, or you're just being an absolute total utter dick, then we reserve the right to ban you, plain and simple. And we're not going to go through some frickin' process. You don't get a judge and a jury or any of those things. It's like, we make the final call. And if you don't like that, I welcome you to go create your own YouTube channel and start a live stream and complain to your 3 viewers that may show up. That's what I'm going to say.
Man, I can. It's when it becomes personal attacks. Like, when you call me, a fucking lefty idiot. Like, well, I don't know. We can disagree. I'm not out here to try and change minds. I stopped that long time ago. I don't. As long as you don't, like, my biggest thing is like, do what makes you happy, as long as it doesn't rob someone else of their happiness. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if you like. I'm for gay marriage because it doesn't infringe on me in any way. It does not take anything from me. I'm for the option to pro-choice, like, because it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't take anything from me. It doesn't take anything from my family. It doesn't, there's like,
I don't care if people do drugs, if they're functional and they don't hurt other people and they got it under control. That's their decision to make. But I do start caring if you take like a bunch of PCP and kill a bunch of people, then I'm a little mad about it,
Yeah, I don't know.
That's actually I like your broad overview, though. Your broad overview is, you know what, if it doesn't hurt somebody else, who cares? That's just it. It's like, as long as you're in your own, like, I don't care. Like, if whatever you do, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it doesn't impact me, like, physically, or it leads to me, like, well, or the result is that I get hurt physically, like, because there are third party ways to do that. But I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you think. I mean, I am gonna have fun arguing with you if you're a flat earther, because that's just fun. That's just good fun right there. But unfortunately, we don't have a lot of flat earthers finding the channel. I think they have a hard time operating computers, and tech is too sciencey for them. So I don't think they come in here. I want to thank some of the super chats, though, that have been been supporting us through this rant.
$20 one.
Yeah, dude. Mage Miner MC. Thank you for your $5. Said Washington. Facebook's a monopoly. Uber. Let's see here. Praise. No one remembers the data mining scandal. Dude, Uber's been hit with a couple of different crazy things.
Yeah.
They have not really had a good run when it comes to PR. Like, I think they had some cases where, like, their drivers were, like, raping people. They had some cases where the data mining, right? They had, like, some kidnappings that occurred. They had people that were, like, just holding people hostage and stuff, like, trying to get more money out of them. I mean, it's like, that's a scary business, but when you look at it statistically, it's still a pretty safe way to travel. Hey, Arnaldo, thank you for the $20. That is so beyond generous. Sorry, it took me a while to get there. He said, good morning, guys. I haven't checked in a bit, but I hope you guys are doing well and keep the great content going. You know what? We enjoy doing this, man. We absolutely enjoy doing it. I mean, so much, in fact, that we actually get up in the morning, like, grumbling, eyes bloodshot, and we spend a good at least 10 minutes preparing for this show. I mean,
at least
we really put forth
30
effort.
minutes after we go live.
Exactly. But that doesn't count. That's a part of the show, bro. That's part of the show. Dave, thank you for the 5 poundaroos. He said, "Hey, Jerry and Ox, hope all's good. Wondering how you enable super chat. It's for somebody else. I think to have super chat, you have to be a partnered channel, right? Don't you have to meet like some metrics to be a partnered channel on YouTube to get super chat?
I don't know. Let's find out. I know YouTube is pretty good about
that.
Explaining that kind of thing. Super chat eligibility.
Yeah, I know not just everybody gets every feature. You have to actually get statistics to like a certain point before you get stuff like that.
Eligibility requirements, your channel requirements.
Let's hear them.
Channel is monetized. So there are rules about being monetized. Look into that. You are over 18. You are in one of the available locations. Super Chat and Super Stickers are not available on age-restricted, unlisted, or private videos. Super Chat and Super Stickers are also not available if live chat is turned off. Requirements for individual videos. Super Chat and Super Stickers are not available on the following types of videos. Age-restricted, unlisted, private, made for kids. Super Chat and Super Stickers are also not available if live chat is turned off. I will post the link in the chat.
Yeah, at some point we're gonna set up like a direct YouTube thing, and that's what I'd recommend to you. Like if you don't qualify for super chat, let me tell you a couple downsides of super chat. First of all, YouTube takes like 30%. YouTube basically takes their pound of flesh on everything. They're basically the Apple Store of the web. But if you would like to still monetize your live stream, you are free to do so externally, meaning that you can take a program like OBS Studio or Streamlabs OBS. And you can basically use something like streamelements.com and implement like a PayPal pay system that still triggers, alerts on screen and things pop up on screen. By the way, if things have been popping up on screen, they have. I've heard the sound. So I think, but all that animation, everything that can happen on the stream, you can do all that externally to YouTube without being a partnered channel. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people do that on Twitch too. Like because you have to get an affiliate, and then after affiliate, you want to get partner if you want a better deal. And during that time where they're growing into that, they can use third parties like PayPal and stuff like that to still garner support or create a Patreon or something. There's a lot of ways that you can still monetize a stream without going directly through the platform. And in many ways, it's actually better to do that way because the PayPal fee is a hell of a lot less than 30%. I can tell you that. The only downside is, of course, since it's not a super chat, or like the equivalent on Twitch would be like bits, right? You're not going to get like any kind of special thing in the chat on the platform that identifies you or anything using the other methods because they're external to the platform. But there's people that have bots and stuff like that that'll still like engage, and you can have them say stuff and do things in chat that would highlight people. But like on Twitch, for instance, it's like if you did like a PayPal thing, you're not going to get the little thing next to your name in chat that says, "Oh, so many bits over the lifetime of your channel." But in the end, it's honestly a good way to go, because you end up getting to keep more of it anyways. So, but at the same time too, it's like, the platform, if the platform sees that you're getting support from people, then they'll also elevate you in SEO and put you up there where people can find your stream easier and stuff like that. Whereas the aforementioned methods obviously are not going to contribute to your SEO or your clout and make you any more recognizable on the platform. So there's some things to consider, because a lot of people are like, why don't you just like not do super chats and do the other thing, because you'd get to keep more money. And it's like, well, the super chat's still good because that's a metric that YouTube sees and actually weights your channel by. So if they see that you're popular and that a lot of people are showing support to you, they're going to elevate you and more people are going to be able to find you in search. So there is a benefit to it. Is it a 30% cut benefit? Probably not, but there is a benefit. Hey, Alan, thank you for the 40 rupees. He said, car brand you guys drive. Oh, AuxXillaries. What kind of car are you riding in these days, bro?
I drive a Hyundai Veloster myself, and also a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Oh, you got a Jeep Grand Cherokee?
It's more my lady's car.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely got the faster one.
Yeah.
Do you like that Veloster?
I like it a lot. Yeah. I kind of want to either trade it in or get the newer N. The Veloster N,
yep,
the sporty one. But then you told me about the Escort or the Focus,
the RS,
ST or RS. Yeah,
so, you need that.
That's expensive.
You need one of those in your life.
$10K.
It's worth an extra $10K. That thing's fun, man. I drove my neighbors and I was like, dude, this is awesome. And then he got it tuned and I was like, oh man, this is even awesomer. Yeah, that thing would smoke my STI, dude. That little Ford Focus RS would absolutely just destroy me from out of the hole. From a rolling start, I think I'd still have them, but I'm heavily tuned. But no, the traction that thing gets, its traction control system's nuts, dude. It's nanners. As far as my car that I drive, it's a 2005 Subaru Impreza WRX STI. It's stage 2 tuned on an actual dyno with all the supporting mods. I make about 336 wheel horsepower and 300 torque, which is about 100 horsepower more than what the car has stock. Because at the wheels, a lot of people are like, oh, but an STI has 305 horsepower. Yeah, put it on a dyno and it's more like 260. Like, you lose quite a bit of power through the all-wheel drive system. So getting to 336, like, it's a lot. You haven't driven my car since I've tuned it, dude. Like, when you drove it down in PDX, it had, I think that was the stage 1 tune that was on it. It's got easily another 60 horsepower and like another 80 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm gonna have to let you take her for a ride again next time we hang out, because
cool.
It's a great car though. I mean, I highly recommend the Veloster. I'm sure that thing's super reliable. I mean, Hyundai has really done a good job with their quality control. Which is great because the brand still sucks to a lot of people, so the prices are low, but the car quality is like amazing now.
They really turned, I want to say it was like in the 2008, 2010 range. They really made a turn. Because, like, man, Hyundai used to be a goof, like Kia, almost. Just like...
Exactly like Kia, yeah.
But then they came out with, like, the Genesis, the Tiburon. They really started putting the 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and all that stuff. And they really... I don't know. To me, they really turned their brand around. Hyundai... is nice.
Kia did the same thing. Like, I haven't driven one yet, but I have a friend who has a Kia Stinger, and he loves it. Oh my god! Even Doug DeMiro has one, the car reviewer. Like, of all the cars, the dude has, like, you know, his like fleet of expensive vehicles, and his daily driver, he chose a Stinger, and it's because it's like rear wheel drive, 400 and some horsepower, like rifle, like bolt shifting. I mean, it's a really nice interior, and it's like affordable. It's like, you know, $20,000 cheaper than like the next competitor with the same options. So yeah, so Kia and Hyundai are like really good options to buy now.
Hyundai actually owns 33.88% of Kia Motors.
No way, really?
So it's actually under Hyundai Motor Group. The group was formed through the purchase of 51% of South Korea's second largest car company, Kia Motors, by Hyundai Motor Company in 1998.
Wow.
As of December 2013, Hyundai owns 33% of Kia. I didn't know.
I would never have guessed that, dude. Never in a million years. Hey, Acid Burn, thank you for that $2 super chat, and thank you for the support, everybody. He said, hey, guys, your thoughts on Flight Simulator 2020? It looks amazing. Are you a Flight Simulator guy?
Not really. They're interesting and stuff, but not to the way, not like Hobbs, you know.
Hobbs is like a whole different level of nerd.
Like, when it comes to that. I probably wouldn't, like, it's cool and it's, woo, yay, cool, it looks great, but I wouldn't buy it or anything. I'm not that interested.
Well, I'm definitely going to be getting it because I have, like, I'm a nerd enough that I have, like, a full-blown flight yoke and 2 HOTAS setups. So, like, basically, you know, throttle group and stick, and then I even have the flight yoke, like a Cessna with the pedals and everything. So I'm definitely getting it, but here's the thing that I really think that Flight Simulator is going to do that none of the other simulators have done before it, and I think it's finally going to pull in a group of people that are not Flight Simulator people that will buy it. I bet you, Mr. AuxxZillary, that at some point you're going to end up buying it, and here's the reason why. Here's the reason why. One, it's going to be on Xbox and be able to be played with a controller, so you don't need like crazy flight setups and stuff if you want to fly. Yeah. But it's got a feature in it that no other game has ever had, like in the history of anything, and that is they're using the entire Earth, all the satellite imagery, all the ground imagery from the cars and everything is all being stored in Azure, and it's being served to you live as you fly around, which means that you can literally get in a plane at SeaTac, fly all the way around the world and see everything that you would see in real life. Every square inch of the planet, every building, every park. I mean, granted, there is some of it that has to be generated, you know, from the imagery. What do they call it? The process of looking at a bunch of photogrammetry.
Photogrammetry.
So they use a bunch of photogrammetry in some places where they don't have the ground level stuff.
Right.
But they create like these stunning, like, I mean, it looks absolutely real. Like from the clouds to the ground, the weather system even matches to the real weather system. You can hook it up. So like,
that'd be cool.
If there's clouds and rain and everything like that, it's all simulated just like it is in real world. But the cool thing is they advertise the feature that they're advertising, like to launch it, is fly over your house. Because everybody's house is in it. Like, you can literally just fly to your neighborhood and fly over your house, like land in your cul-de-sac and park the airplane in your driveway. Like, you can literally do that. Cool. No other game you can do that, dude. So
now, aren't they're like streaming a lot of that, right? Like,
they are.
It's not like installed local. So like,
it couldn't. They said it's hundreds of terabytes, dude.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you could ever store it on any at-home computer. There's not enough storage. And the cool thing is they're also going to keep updating it. So like every couple of months, they're basically going to remodel the world. So if new construction shows up, you see it.
It's not real time data.
No, it's not real time.
Yeah, it's like it's because like, holy cow, that the bandwidth for that would be insane.
It's going to be amazing though, dude. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll buy it, but it'd be cool to sit down and give it a shot, just to play around.
Yeah, it's 2 petabytes of data. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. They're not going to have the problems that I see with it at launch though is they're not going to have VR support out of the gate, which I still find really odd because adding VR support to a 3D game is actually really, really easy. Like, that's not a hard thing to do, right? You're basically you're just shifting the point of view and having 2 cameras and merging them together. That's all you're doing at a 3D game. So I don't know why they're not going to have VR as a launch thing. But just imagine in VR being able to just like fly around like Seattle and like, land on the freeway in front of the waterfront in VR, being able to look everywhere and have full depth perception. I mean, I think it's going to be one of those experiences where it's like, even if you're not like into flying airplanes, it would be cool to even just like put on your VR headset and just sit back and just be a passenger on somebody else's flight,
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
It's going to be pretty wild. So I'm super excited about it. They are going to support Track IR at launch. Okay, that's cool. I want full blown VR though, like VR or go home. But I am excited to play it, and when it comes out, I'm definitely going to buy it, and I'm definitely going to shoot a video of unboxing. Like I literally have an A10 Warthog HOTAS, like full metal from Thrustmaster. They sent it to me to review, I want to say like 7 or 8 years ago, and it's still sealed in the box. And it's like, I literally have been waiting for the right moment to pull that bad boy out. Cause I mean, it's serious gear. It's like it's the stuff that you'd actually like bolt down to a simulator. And, so I'm going to bust that out for my first play on Flight Simulator 2020. And I'm excited. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing balls. Let's see. Persona said we need VR sex games. They already have them, dude.
Yeah,
they've had those forever. Like, you're not looking in the right spot. As a matter of fact, some of them you can even get on Steam, which I find hilarious. Hey Dave, thank you for the £5 super chat. He said, wow, just found this on Yahoo News. China seals off village after bubonic plague death. Dude, there's a bubonic plague like pops up every year.
I just recently saw there are like 5 or 6 cases a year in the United States.
Yeah, why is China freaking out?
Like, we can fix the plague. We can fix that. It's not a scary thing anymore. So don't worry about bubonic plague.
I wonder if they're just, if they're, you know what I bet it is, and I'm going to put on my little conspiracy hat here, is I think they're probably experiencing like a second wave, like a lot of people are, of the COVIDs. And I think because they're experiencing that second wave and now there's like another plague, they're just being overly cautious. Yeah. They're like, just shut it down, because it'd be probably hard to determine like what's what when all the hospitals are full. So they're probably just being extra safe. But yeah, this is the thing I don't like about media, about mainstream media, and it goes on both sides. This has nothing to do with partisanship at all, because they all do it, is they sensationalize things. And the bubonic plague, I just noticed, like, I think I heard about it a month ago. There was, I think MSNBC did like a little thing. It's like, oh, the bubonic plague or whatever, 3 people have been found to have it. And it's like, wait a second though. Isn't this still around? Like, because we can treat it, right? If you get it, you just go to the hospital. They give you like some antibiotics or whatever. You're good to go.
Yeah,
and yeah, so it still can kill. It's still really, really bad, but it's not not like a horrible thing. And they're like making it sound like, oh, it's back, it's been gone forever, and it's not. None of it has been gone forever. Like even measles, like when we say we eradicate something, we mean that there's like an edge case every once in a while. We have a treatment for it, right? Like it doesn't mean it's like completely gone, because like measles has come back a lot. So now they can say it's resurged because of the anti-vaxxers. But I can tell you right now that it's been around forever. Like measles didn't go anywhere. There's still people that get freaking smallpox. I've seen like, it's very rare, but smallpox still does occur. But the media, of course, if you don't have any other information for context, you're like, oh my God, it came back, we're all going to die. And it's like, no, we're not. We're going to be okay. we're going to survive this. I just think everybody's a little bit more, a little bit more cautious now because, you know, going through like a proper worldwide pandemic, like it's the first time in most of our lifetimes, right? It's just made us a little sensitive to it. So of course media picks up on that and they're going to sensationalize the crap out of it, you know, to get them views. And it's just how it is. So always check stuff out, always do research, like don't have a knee-jerk reaction. And I'm guilty of that too. I've done it before. You know, try not to have a knee-jerk reaction. Go get the data first and then decide if you want to panic or not. But like, don't just hear something on the TV and be like, oh my God. Like when Beirut, you know, you saw the Beirut explosion, right?
Oh man, that's intense. I saw some satellite pictures of like before and after. There is a chunk missing out of the
Dude, I haven't seen the satellite
peninsula.
pictures. Hold on here. I want to see that. So big.
Like, holy cow. There's like a spit of land that sticks out into the bay or whatever that is, and there's a chunk missing, like a fucking huge hole. Like,
wow,
it's insane. That was a massive explosion. Like,
dude, if you find the picture of that, send it to me on Discord, because that is freaking crazy. So they said that it was over a megaton. So that, I mean, just to let you know, that's like nuclear ordnance territory. It wasn't nuclear though. I want to make it just so nobody gets confused. It wasn't nuclear. There's no radiation or anything. It was basically just, you know, some idiots that were greedy, you know, had like 27 tons of like, or 27,000 tons of ammonium nitrate just sitting there. And it, you know, and of course that's an accelerant, right? That's oxidizer.
That's what brought down that FBI building in Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, yeah, it's bad stuff. So sorry, kiloton, not megaton. My bad. So, it was one, but still, that is, hold on here. Let me see. I'm not sure on that. I thought it was a megaton. Hold on here. Beirut blast. Let me see here. Let's see. Latest news on the story. Okay, it's up to surprisingly only 137 deaths so far. I mean, it is going up slowly, but that's kind of surprising considering like just the scale of that explosion. If you guys haven't seen the video, it's like it doesn't even seem real, dude. It doesn't even seem real. It's like the blast wave and the mushroom cloud. You're like, dude, was that like a nuclear bomb? That's the first thing I thought when I saw it.
What's nuts is that like,
thank you, Finn. Finn sent me the picture.
There's like footage of like, there's something on fire, right? Like there's a big smoke plume and like you can see these little pop 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 pop, like little pop pop kind of things, and then kaboom! Like the wave, the vapor wave of the. That's, man, give me goosebumps just like thinking about the footage I've seen.
I just put it up on the screen so people can see it here. The satellite imagery, so you can see like right here. That right there is what blew up. That was where the ammonium nitrate was. I think it was this ship in this building, and this is just and you can even see look at the blast wave. So the explosion didn't even reach out this far. That's all a pressure wave. They just wiped all that right there. It's just all pressure wave, just gone.
Ugh,
it's hard to believe that like something created an explosion that could like neutralize that big of a landmass. That's just, oh my God, that's crazy. That's hard to look at, dude. That is wild. But they said, what was I want to make sure, because I thought it was it kiloton? I thought it was a megaton, but then again, I guess a megaton would be a lot more than that.
Yeah, we're talking a megaton is a million tons of TNT.
Right. So
that's a lot.
Let's see here. So Beirut, let's see, blast. So it's ammonium nitrate. Let's see, what was the? Damn it, Wikipedia doesn't have it. Usually Wikipedia is my go-to. Yeah, no, I know it was 20. It was 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate, and it yielded over a kiloton blast. Which I think the only weapon that we have like in the U.S. arsenal that's a blast that big is like a daisy cutter.
I know the Moab is in that range before you start getting nuclear.
Oh, is it? Okay, so Moab blast. Let's see here, kiloton. Let me see what the Moab can do. So, okay, so it has a blast capacity yield of 11 tons of TNT.
So that's not even a kiloton.
That's not even a kiloton, yeah. So
more than our strongest non-nuclear bomb.
Right. So I think this one up that sumbitch. Yeah, so let's see. How many kilotons of TNT are in 1 kiloton? So let's see. An explosive yield of 1 terajoule is equal to 0.239 kilotons of TNT. Let's see. Because of the accuracy of the measurement of energy released by TNT has always been problematic. The conventional definition is 1 kiloton of TNT is simply the equivalent of 10 to 12 calories. What?
Because calories are a measure of heat,
of
energy burn. Right? There's a certain amount of energy stored in your food and things, and so we use calories as a measure of how much energy is stored in that food.
Yep. So just to give you an idea, so this picture says a lot. Here, let me see. Can I put this up on the screen? Stand by while I zoom this in. Okay, let me flip to it. Stand by. So this right here is a chart of nuclear ordnance and their yields. So Hiroshima, the first bomb, was that little boy? 15 kilotons. So think about it. If this is over a kiloton blast, which I know it was like 1.2 kilotons, I think is what they were saying it was. So just imagine, the nuclear bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima, this was roughly 1/15 the size or 1/14 the size. That's still pretty damn crazy to even like think about for like a non-nuclear weapon, right? That's like that's a weapon that you couldn't even deliver, right? It had to be like ordnance on site exploding because there's like no physical method that you could literally like get it there to detonate it. So it's like beyond any conventional explosive that we have.
Rising, man.
It's crazy. It's freaking crazy. So, just because we live in an age of, internet and video, there's like, 100 videos from different angles of people, because what happened was the building like caught fire. And so everybody was like videoing that, right, from the primary explosion. And then the secondary explosion happened when everybody was videotaping it. So it's like it literally set it up perfectly to be captured from like every single angle. But back to the media, looping back to the original thing that I brought this up on, is that the media immediately was like, there's this giant explosion in Beirut. And the president walks out and he's like, this is an attack. And they're like, no, don't say that. Don't.
That was whack.
That was not it literally just like sent everybody into a panic because they're like, are they being attacked? Because I mean, it is a, a sensitive area for like war and stuff like that. So the fact that, oh God, I was like, just don't listen to the media though. Like when you see stuff like that, it's like, go do some research, because that's how I found out about it. Like I watched that and it's like, oh, Beirut just had a huge attack, and it's like it wasn't an attack. Oh my God, you're gonna freak so many people out if they think that people have weapons that big.
And this is where, for me at least, this is where Twitter actually did a really good job. Is like, okay, there's explosion in Beirut, and then it was a flood of different angles. One of the ones that I thought was the best was shot a dude. It looks like he's kind of up, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 floors. It's like,
I know which one you're talking about. Yep.
And it shows like a column of smoke. Like he's like, oh man, there's a big fire over there.
Yeah.
And you see like these little sparky pop, 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 pop.
Yep,
pop.
I know exactly which video you're talking about.
Boom, and it's instant cloud vapor, and it comes rushing at the guy.
It's like one frame of video. It's like it's there, and then it's just a giant mushroom cloud.
Comes right at the guy. Whoa, man. Whoa.
And did you hear like the blast was delayed? You heard that's the speed of sound. So it's like
right,
and then it's like boom, and then he like gets down, and you hear the glass just all shattering out of the building. And he was probably miles away, like at least a mile.
I'd say at least a mile
from the blast, sure. and it just decimated. It like blew out every window and like everything. Or the bride. Did you see the video of the bride?
I saw that getting her photo shoot. And
stuff. Yeah, there's like a gimbal. Like they're doing like this nice gimbal walk around of her, and then you just hear boom, and they just kind of ignore it, like because they're like, oh, there's some blast off in the distance, and then just the pressure wave just comes down the street and just like knocks her over, and the camera's like all over the place, and it's just it's so freaking crazy, man. Although I'll tell you what, I bet you that was an interesting wedding present to sell that video to about 5,000 media outlets. Goodness. I'm sure she's set for life. She's like, screw the wedding photos, man. We're moving to another country with all the money we made selling this to MSNBC. Hey Breaker, thank you for that $2 super chat. He said, now think how today's nukes are like 100x, little boy. Oh, I think some of them are more than 100x. Because I think the biggest actually, we don't even have the biggest bomb in the world. I think Russia still holds the record with the Tsar Bomba, which is like, I think 50 megatons.
Yeah.
I think is what it was rated at. And they said that it actually had the potential to go up to as high as 100 kilotons, but they never did, because the 50 kiloton bomb already like had really bad radioactive effects thousands of miles away from the test blast. So they're like, nah, we don't need anything bigger than that. But yeah, just 50 megatons is like, yeah, vaporize islands. Like it's insane. It's absolutely insane. Josh said he just watched the wedding explosion video. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to think that like, I don't even know what. And the weird thing is, like, you can hear on the camera, you hear the explosion, like in the video, like, and they keep shooting. Because you can tell they're just like, they're not shaken by things like that. Like, you know, apparently there's enough things going on in that country. It's like a loud boom doesn't really, like, you know, mean anything from a distance. But it was the shockwave that got him coming down the street. Like, you can see it in the video, like, hit her. And it's crazy. She was okay, though. As far as I know, she was okay. Acid Burns, thank you for the $2 super chat. He said, what's the best achievement in 2020? To be alive. What's your best achievement in 2020? God, that's a tough one, man. 2020's been rough for achievements. I guess for me personally, if you even want to consider this achievement, is I finally just stopped caring like about losing viewers and stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's a weird thing, but it's like I've been really big on speaking my mind and doing what I believe is right for me and my future and my family's future. And I haven't been putting so much I haven't been putting so much like clout on appeasing everybody and pleasing everybody. And I feel like that for me is a big achievement, because my entire life I've always tried to just be a people pleaser, and I've always tried to make everybody happy no matter what. No matter how wide the gamut is between people, I always try to make them happy, and I kind of let go of that mentality. And now I'm a little bit more I don't want to say like honest, because I feel like I've always been honest, but I'm more forthcoming now, whether people want me to or not. So my achievement is I guess I got old. I guess that's what I'm saying, is I got old. Man, I'm like, I just say shit, and I don't really care about the consequences. How about you, bro? What's your greatest achievement of because I know you got some big things going on. Like your house? Yeah,
the house for sure. That I'm really looking forward to, like kind of a reset with the new house. Yeah, that's a big achievement for sure. Yeah, I think that's probably the big one. Yeah,
getting a house is hard to top, dude. Like,
I'm getting more serious about starting my own thing.
You need to.
When it comes to like, trying to turn my hobby and interest into like money.
Bro, you need to just do it.
Yeah,
you need to just. I mean, here's the thing: the longer you wait, the harder it is. Anything in IT, it doesn't matter if it has any kind of influence online, which everything does now, right? Like being a gas station attendant, you make more money on TikTok, like, you know, showing your job than you do actually doing it. So
that would be hilarious,
dude. I'm not even joking. There are people that I've seen on TikTok that are like UPS drivers and stuff like that. They just like do videos of them like singing while they're just like driving around on their UPS truck, and they got like 100 million viewers, and you're like, I'm doing, man. I'm a try hard compared to these guys. But what I would tell you is the longer you wait, the more competitive it becomes, because every day more people are coming online than they are going away. Right. And so for me, for instance, if I was to start everything like from scratch, like today, I don't believe that I would have achieved anything close to what I have right now had I not like started like 12 years ago. So it's like you're up against a way steeper hill than me and anybody else that started early in the whole social media and online content creation game. So get after it, man. No more excuses. Just line some people up, start building some PCs, and record that shit. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
Hey, Breaker, thank you for the $2 super chat. He said, I already read that one earlier. He said, now think that nukes are 100x little boy. You know what? Nuclear weapons are too big to actually use anymore. That's kind of how that's why they say it's a nuclear deterrent, right? Is like nukes, they're not practical. No, it doesn't matter. Like wherever you use them on the planet, you end up suffering some fallout. Like there's just no way. And the small little strategic nuclear weapons that they have are still like massively big. Like even the ones that are on like the submarines, you know, like it blows my mind that we have a submarine. And do we have any submariners here in chat? So we have a submarine in our arsenal called I think it's called the Boomer. Is it? It's Boomer class or something like that. I know that's not the official name. That's what they called internally, because a friend of mine's a submariner, and it's got 2 nuclear reactors on board, and it carries 24 nuclear tipped like Tomahawk missiles or something like that. Or not Tomahawks. They're basically like ICBMs, like little mini ICBMs that can go like 3,000 or 4,000 nautical miles. And it's like, wow. And there's 24 of them on there, and that thing can stay completely concealed underwater for 6 months without coming up. Oh, that's what it is. The Ohio class is what's referred to as the boomer. And it can carry 24, and they never said how many of them are nuclear tipped, but they all have the potential to be. So you could have 24 freaking nuclear, like ICBM nuclear bombs that could like take out city blocks, like entire city blocks, and irradiate an entire city. Like you have 24 of those, like literally just on a submarine that can just, it doesn't even have to pop up to launch them. It can launch them from like 30 meters underwater. It's absolutely wild, dude. So I think it's that deterrent. It's one of those things where everybody wants it just so they never use it, right? Because there's no way to use it. Like if you use it, somebody's going to retaliate, even if it's not the country that you're attacking. One of their allies is going to retaliate. Like everybody seems to have nuclear weapons nowadays. It seems like everybody has them, right? Like all the major countries do. And even the smaller countries that don't, they're allied with countries that do. So it's the ultimate, basically chest puff out, right? It's just that we all have. I mean, that's why Kim wants nuclear bombs. Like his nuclear bombs are more likely to blow up his thing on launch than anybody else. But it's for the bragging rights and to say, listen, we all have access to the mutually assured destruction button. And that's how they work. That's how nuclear bombs work good because they're never used. Like literally because they're so destructive and they're never actually used. Like we used them once and we like shit ourselves and like never again. Like literally there's only ever been 2 nuclear bombs and it was within a couple of days of each other that have ever been used in the entire history of mankind. There have been 2 bombs and never another one since. Even with all the tensions and all the wars and everything that went on, never did another nuclear bomb because after that we were just like, oh shit, what have we done? And that was the smallest one. That was what, 15 kilotons and 22 kilotons, I think, from that picture, 22 or 24 kilotons. And now we're like, 10 megatons, 20 megatons, 50 megatons. It's like, yeah, at that point, it's just mutually assured destruction if anybody launches them.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Super E said, why do you have 5,000 bombs? Oh, we have a lot more than 5,000.
Oh, we're just talking all bombs?
Dude, even nuclear bombs, we have more than 5,000 in our arsenal. Like, it's absolutely insane how much crap we... Just like, oh, hey, Shoe Nice, what's up, my boy? It's good to see you. It's just like nerve gas. Like, you can't even use it anymore. Like, you literally can't... Like, the Geneva Convention, like, says you can't use napalm, you can't use, was it biological agents? Like mustard gas and stuff like that. But, right. We have enough VX gas, like, stored in the United States to kill like not every human, but every living organism on the planet like 10 times over. Like, why did we ever make that much? I mean, now we're trying to destroy it, right? Now we have to put it in blast furnaces and incinerators and destroy it. But it's like we literally made enough of this stuff to kill every organism on Earth, including ourselves, like 10 times over. And I have to imagine that was the same thing as the nuclear thing, where it was just a deterrent, right? We're just like, listen, we can push a button and decimate the entire planet. And then some other countries like, well, we can push the button and decimate it even faster. And it just becomes this arms race and nothing ever gets launched. It's all still just conventional weapons. Let's see here. Oh, it's the Trident missiles. That's what it is. MD Hofsty said the Trident missiles on the Ohio can carry up to 8 to 100 kiloton warheads. What? Wait, hold up. 1 missile? So like a MIRV?
No. I think it's 8. 100
it can carry
warheads.
8 100 kiloton warheads. Okay, that's crazy, right? If my math is correct, that'd be close to a megaton of overall explosive bang.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's
dude.
a lot. Yeah.
That is a lot. So, but I don't think we're gonna see. I don't think we'll see nuclear war because everybody understands what it means now. Yeah. Like even the layman, even people that don't really know anything, just about the technical side of it. They just know that that's bad. If a nuclear bomb goes off anywhere for any reason, it's basically just going to be a planet-wide issue. Like, we'll be lucky to survive it. But we'll see. Well, I mean, hopefully this is the thing. You can't disarm them either. This is the other thing that's really wild about this. I was thinking, like, why don't we just disarm? Like, everybody just agree to like throw away their nuclear weapons. Well, one, because how do you enforce that? Because every country is going to just lie to you and say they got rid of their weapons, just like Russia did, and they're just going to keep them around. And then we're going to lie about getting rid of ours, and it's just going to be like, oh, I said you first. It'll just be one of those things. So they're here to stay, and that actually isn't a bad thing, because if you disarm a country of all of its nuclear weapons or disarm the world, then the one country that doesn't do it is going to basically hold the keys to the kingdom, right, and lord them over everybody. It's actually safer for everybody to have them, just so that they're guaranteed never to be used. And plus those Minutemen, like you've seen that, like where the guys sit in the silo, right, where they have to like turn the key at the right time and everything. Like, I mean, they make damn sure that there's no way for one of these to like accidentally go off.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it has to be like with a lot of intent. Like the guys in the bunker can't even do a launch without codes coming in encrypted from somewhere else. And then those guys have to agree to both do it. And then if one guy doesn't agree, there's another guy there that can replace him that could decide to agree. And if he disagrees, that it ain't launching no matter how many people want to launch it. It's like, it's so crazy how many safeguards there are. And the same thing on the subs too. The subs can't just like push a button and launch them. Like, right. That's what I thought when I heard about it. I was like, but no, they actually have a Minuteman bunker on the submarine. Huh. And they have the same protocol and everything. The guys on the submarine, the 3 guys have to agree. They have to get the codes from the president. They're the only ones on the submarine that know how to decrypt them. Nobody else does. Nobody has access to decryption. So it's basically like this little crew that's like, that manage it. And so that way you don't have like a rogue captain or something being like, oh man, I'm going to go blow something up. They can't launch any nuclear weapons without like a crap load of approval. So when Alan said, don't believe these codes when they can hack Twitter, they can hack those codes. There's a human element though.
I think putting a Twitter hack in the same category as nuclear codes is that's like oh, if they can break into your house, they must be able to rob a bank.
Yeah, you're not going to social engineer the launching of missiles.
Different levels of security there, I think.
Yeah, I could just see it like you call them up. You're calling up the Minuteman site and you're like, hey guys, this is the president. Could you guys launch the nuclear weapons? Oh sure, Commander in Chief. Where do you want to send them? Oh here, I'll send you some coordinates. Hold on. Like no, it's not going to work. And they change the codes constantly, and the people that have access to the codes are very few and very far between. And even if somebody was to get kidnapped, like if they kidnapped somebody and like held them and said they had to make the call, they can immediately invalidate those codes. And so it's really a solid system that hasn't been circumvented in since it was, since the first nuclear weapon or the first ICBM site was created. They still haven't figured out how to work around it. But, it is kind of scary. And it's not online. Just to let you guys know, it's not online. Like, it's not an internet service. The president doesn't, like, type some shit into a web page and it goes, like, over an HTTPS connection to the Minuteman site. No, they have their own encrypted radio system. All the communication, everything is done by bouncing it off low Earth orbit satellites and airplanes flying over and shit. It's like there's no... You're not going to be able to ping the Minuteman site from the command prompt on the internet. Otherwise, that would get hacked like immediately. I'd admit that it's a Twitter hack at that point if it's fully exposed to the internet. Let's see. What do we got going on over here? Mage Miner, thank you for that $5 super chat, you amazing bastard. He said, hold on here. Hold on, wait.
Are you farting? Yep. Gross.
Oh, that was a long one. That was drawn out.
Didn't catch that one.
Whew. Oh man, that was potent. That was potent. Look, Chris is clapping. Thank you. I bow. Sorry guys, when I turned 40, I lost all humility. Back to Mage Miner. Thank you for the $5. He said it's amazing the fact that a bomb the size of a dog can take out an entire state. Hydrogen bombs, yeah, hydrogen bombs, no bueno. They're still pretty big though. Like the thing is, like you can't really make them that small because you still need all that shielding and everything around the radioactive material. So they're still really heavy because we haven't figured out a way to make like super lightweight shielding yet. So it's still just like a bunch of lead or deuterium, which I found out is a real thing. I didn't know that. I'm going to be honest. I watch Star Trek and I hear deuterium all the time and I'm like, oh, that sounds like a funny word. And then you realize it's just heavy water. It's like they literally use it in every single nuclear reactor everywhere. Like it's actually a real thing. Better check them drawers. Don't worry. It was relatively dry. I think we're okay. Sir, could you entertain the troops for a second, though? Because I do have to go take a raging coffee dump now.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm turning over the reins to Mr. AuxxZillary here for the next 5 minutes. Be nice.
What's up, man? All right, what are you guys thinking? Oh, yeah, what's up, Peter Berg with 20 sexes? Thank you very much. Hi, Mr. Berg. Tattoo in 3 days. That's going to be sick. Congratulations. What's the print on your shirt? Oh, it's like a ramen monster. Which I think you can actually still get this on Teespring. I really liked. I actually found this. I found this at Marshall's for like $8, and I think you can still get it. It's from Teespring, I think. Look up YouTube Q. What's the secret American nuclear trigger code? That's weird. Nah, I don't want to know. I'm thinking boomers or Aussies. The imagery in my set is glorious. A team of 3 people for over 20-something years could break in and launch Minuteman missiles because all the codes on them are 000. That's weird. In the 50s and stuff, that was a whole different kind of time. Oh, wait, whoa, why did the bot take this out? Oh, sorry, Jarrett. Yeah, you probably got dinked because it saw those numbers as a link or something. Sorry about that. I got the same combination on my luggage. Have you considered a clean shave in the past few years? No. Still at Puget Systems? Yes. Have you played Horizon Zero Dawn port? It sucks balls. I haven't. I watched most of a playthrough when it was on PlayStation. Why does it suck?
So much better.
Until when the beard will stay? Until I get 10 grand.
10 grand. That's the price to remove the beard, and that's been the standing price for years, guys.
Yep. One singular. I think my keyboard has blues. I pull the keycap off and it's got a little blue nipple.
If it's a Cherry MX key, then it's a blue. Then it's their blue switch. I know that they changed they're different switches for everybody, like Omron or whatever, and Gataran, Gata something.
I can't really see. There's some letters on it, but they're really small.
I think the keyboard I'm
using. Oh no, they're Cherry. Yeah, they're Cherry.
Oh, so it's a Cherry MX Blue.
Yeah.
Sweet. Hey, Peter Berg, thank you for the 20 sexes. We appreciate it. Getting a tattoo in 3 days. Hey, do you got any tattoos?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah, you do. I remember. Yeah, is that the only one you got?
Yeah, I want more. I might. Well, I have an idea for one, and I need to run it by a good artist because it's going to take some tweaking. And I got to know what it's going to cost.
Tattoos can be expensive, man. Oh boy, I think let's see, the tattoo that I got, because Caleb Ferris from CBCNC actually has my logo tattooed on his arm. And I think I paid, I want to say it was close to $300. Not to him, but to a tattoo artist to do it like last minute, and that was like really cheap. Like the tattoo artist was like all in because we were like, we brought a bunch of people in. We were there was a bunch of tattoos being done that day. But I was kind of surprised by that. I was like, a tattoo about this size with like 2-3 colors was like $300. And I was like, dude, how much does it cost to get like a sleeve? Like that's gotta be thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Mine was $100, 90, I think at the time.
$90, really?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that was too much, honestly. Yeah, but
wow. Okay, well, that seems to me compared to what I paid.
Yeah,
that sounds like a damn steal. Maybe I just got robbed.
I thought it was at the time. I thought it was reasonable, but maybe I don't know.
Hey, yeah. Azul, thank you for that new channel membership. We appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Let's see. I get a tattoo of a Windows icon. No way. Actually, I would never get a tattoo. I don't think I'd never get a tattoo because, dude, I don't like needles, man. I mean, I'm more used to them now that I've been stabbed by like a million, but I just don't like the idea of things like going into your skin and like leaving something behind. That always mentally messes with me.
And like it does hurt. Like it's I mean, yeah, it's like getting yeah. Yeah,
and I watched Caleb get his tattoo and he was like in a Zen trance, dude. Like he was like totally relaxed and just chilling. And I was like, dude, you're literally getting like a Gatling gun of needles stabbing your arm, and he's like, no, it doesn't bug me at all. But he did take a break like once, so I guess the pain does sometimes build to a point where it's like you just need to take a breather.
That's how it was for me. Like, it hurt enough to be tolerable. Like it hurt, but it was tolerable. But for me, it came in waves. Like it felt like it built up.
Yeah.
And just before I got to a point where I would have to be like, it would fade. And so like it came in these strange, and that was tiring. Like, and I think that's because of the endorphins or something, where like it hurts, and then you get a flood of pain juice in your brain, and then you're like, ugh.
Yeah, because if you've ever seen a tattoo gun, it's not one needle. It's a grid. It's like a dot bundle. Matrix printer of needles. And it's like,
depending on what they're doing for like line work, it's like 3 or 4 little tiny ones, and then for coverage, like the color part, it was like a bundle of like maybe 8, and then
and I mean it's going up and down like hundreds or probably thousands of times per minute, just like and then when they're all done and you see it and blood's just coming out everywhere, and they have to like put Saran wrap on it, so you don't bleed out. It's just I don't think I could do it. Hey Azul. Oh wait, Azul, why did you retract your message? I was getting ready to answer it. Damn it, Azul. Okay, I can kind of remember. I think you were asking how to get verified on Discord. But you didn't get the email. That I don't really know. I don't know. Am I even verified on Discord? I don't even know if I am. There's a lot of places where I'm not verified, actually. Like Instagram, for some reason, is the new hard verification to get.
Yeah.
Like nobody I know is verified there.
Process, I'm sure.
What's that?
I'm sure there's some application process.
Dude, I know that Twitter is the weirdest one. Like Twitter, you can't just get verified. You have to like know somebody who knows somebody, and then like wait 6 months, and then it'll just like randomly happen when you're not doing anything. Let's see here. Peter said, I'm doing the razor tattoo. Oh, that's right. You did show me that. You showed me the picture of that. Dude, that's awesome. Because, okay, so I got the story now. Sorry, Peter. I didn't recognize you. So Peter tweets over on the old Twitter ski that he's going to get a razor tattoo if he can get 50 retweets. He just wanted 50 retweets. So I just randomly broadcasted him out to my entire audience and said, everybody retweet this so he has to get the tattoo. And so he actually got over the 50 retweets. I said, I'm going to hold you to it, bro. I said, I'm going to hold it to you. And he's like, oh, no, I'm doing it. I'm absolutely doing it. So I'm still waiting for those pictures when he gets it done. But we're literally got somebody to get a tattoo for 50 retweets. That's got to be like the cheapest. Did your camera freeze or are you just holding like super?
Oh, sorry,
dude, you were like you were not moving at all, dude. That was crazy. I thought you died, man. No, Peter is not a relative of mine. We both share the last German last name, but that's where it ends. Like unless my dad was fooling around, which it's entirely possible. Let's see what else we got going on over here in the universe. Okay, we hit up Peter. Let's see. Okay, I think we're good. Do you want to start talking about the topics, sir? I think we should probably start jumping into the topics. We had some fun talking about.
You talk about Hyperloop Vaporware.
You got it, sir. Okay, so everybody here obviously should know what the Hyperloop is because we all know what anything that Elon Musk thinks while he's sitting on the toilet. We all know about. So the Hyperloop is a revolutionary new transport system where they basically stick a pod inside of a vacuum tube and accelerate that sumbitch to about 900 kilometers per hour with a bunch of people inside of it through a little tube. Basically, it's like the equivalent of those like the vacuum tubes that you have in like banks and stuff to like move stuff through the banks, right? But it's like for people. And Elon Musk comes up with this idea, and this is the very short, abridged version, but he comes up with this idea and he decides to just open source it to the world so that everybody can go and just build it themselves. And I think the front runner right now is Virgin. Richard Branson's company is like the one that's like at the bleeding edge, and now I guess Dubai just like allocated $500 billion or something like that to build like the world's biggest Hyperloop. And the problem is this thing was like conceptualized I think in like 2011 or something, 2011 or 2012, and still to this day they can't even get the test rigs to work properly. Like it's just, and the reason why I think it's vaporware is because it's been around for so long and so little progress has been made when they pretty much said that the idea was fleshed out and we were going to already be like riding around in these things. Like there'd already be like a completed like trip between like San Francisco and like LA or something like that by 2020. And there's nothing like that. Still, there's only test rigs, and the test rigs do not work properly. They haven't put any humans in them yet. So they haven't even done like a human trial to transport anybody. And I think the longest run is like a couple of miles in a straight line with like no bends. So I'm starting to think that and that's the other thing. Actually, I wanted to bring that up too. Elon wasn't the one that came up with the idea, even though everybody credited him for it. Apparently the idea was patented by, what's the guy's name? Really well known. It wasn't Tesla. It wasn't Tesla though. Oh God, was it Gerard? Shit, I can't remember his name. But yeah, 100 years ago, it was already a patented idea to have a vacuum chamber tube with a transport system inside of it, like a low resistance transfer. So Elon didn't really come up with anything that hadn't been thought of before. And so you have to think it's been 100 years and nobody's built one of these things. And it's all well documented, like throughout history, like the problems that they had with it and why it wasn't practical then and why it still isn't practical today. And so I really don't think they're going to build one. I think that all these billions of dollars, like Virgin and Dubai putting in the 500 billion, I think it's just a bunch of scam artists that are just collecting massive amounts of revenue, and they just keep pushing back deadlines. And I don't think we're ever going to see a functional hype. Well, I don't want to say ever, because at some point they'll figure it out, right? But I don't think that we're going to see it like anytime soon. I don't think
it's going to be tough because, for one, there's a reason like why we don't have a halfway decent like bullet train system around the United States.
Right.
Like, but I did see, instead of the pod solution, I saw where you can drive your car into it and it grabs onto, it's like a sled that grabs onto your car and will whoosh, launch you along. I think that's probably the better solution because now you're using a somewhat established infrastructure already, right? Cars. Everybody's got cars. And all you need to do is like the automated car wash, you drive into the thing, you roll up until it says stop, it grabs your car, and poof, you're away. I think the general populace would agree, and like it's a less friction to use that kind of idea, but the whole trouble is going to be infrastructure.
Yeah.
The whole vacuum thing is too complicated. It'll just be a tunnel, and you'll be moving at 200 miles an hour.
And I don't even think that that's system. Realistic though, because like if you think about it, it's like moving cars is awesome, right? Because you want to drive your car, you want to be in your car. But the thing is, they already have a system like that over in Europe, where it's like you just drive your car onto a 200-mile-an-hour bullet train. They line them all up on the carts, and you just stay in your car, and 40 minutes later, you're in your destination. Then you pull off the train and get right back on the road. And so they already have that. And if they tried to do it the way Elon wants to do it, where it's like you have to drive down and then get in one of the carousels, and then the carousels get launched off. If anything breaks in that system, it stops the whole thing, right? Because there's no passing or anything like that. And there's a lot of other problems with it too, like the speed. They're not going to get nowhere near the speed of like a maglev train. Or one of these bullet trains that's like perfectly smooth on tracks. So it's like, it just doesn't make sense from a cost perspective to like build these giant tunnels, line up these cars. Even if people are like loading onto it like nonstop, it's just not going to move enough people to justify the amount of time and money that has to go into it to make it like feasible. So I think that the whole idea is Vaporware, not just the Hyperloop, but like the whole concept of let's just put cars and these little singular tunnels, because we already have big tunnels, right? There's already big tunnels all over the place you can drive through that are 4 lanes wide that cars can just freely move through, right, at speed. So that's not a new concept. Like the only thing that's really new is like putting the cars on these little sleds so that they could theoretically go faster and be completely hands-free.
But I've long since held to the idea that we need to have a major federal infrastructure program like they did with the highway system, where the feds just come in and say, this is what we're doing. And what it needs to be is a high-speed rail system that follows the interstate highway system. Why not?
I think it's a good idea.
You already have a route. You already have it, and it's a pretty okay like system. It's called Amtrak, and it failed. That's still like super commercial. Like that's like freight rail. I'm talking high speed maglev bullet style, like where you can go from Seattle to San Diego in an hour, kind of. Or I'm obviously.
And there needs to be a way for them to like pull off at like stations more frequently and stuff, not just for like long term travel, but like pull off on places.
It'd have to be only big cities. Like you'd go. It'd be like. It wouldn't make sense to go from Seattle to Portland. You could already do that in an hour and a half or 2 hours. Like that's silly. It would be like it would have to be, if I think, at least to make it economical make sense. It would have to be trips like Seattle to San Francisco, or Seattle to LA, and then from like LA to Houston, Texas, or something. That kind of thing.
I think it's a good idea to build like, long transport. I mean, we already have them in the form of like regular trains, but high speed being the key, right? Yeah. They're fast. And but it has to be more economical than what we have already, right? If you build this huge system and it costs basically the same as it does to get on a jumbo jet and fly there even faster, you're not going to have a huge demand for it. if there's more holdups. It has to be a better working system. And the thing with the Hyperloop specifically is the amount of like technical problems that it has, in the end result of the failures in that system are not worth the risk. So I'm surprised it's made it this far. Because think about it, you have a vacuum chamber, right? That's dropped down to almost a perfect vacuum. They can't quite get it there all the way, but get it down to a relative vacuum. And then you're basically propelling a vehicle through the tube using like a maglev system. That's what they've kind of agreed on, that everybody seems to be using, is this maglev system. So you have very low friction from the air, and you have no friction from the track, right? So you're moving this thing freely through the tube. But the problem that you run into is what happens if that tube gets breached anywhere? You have a rapid decompression, and that rapid decompression could actually stop that train so fast that it kills everybody on board.
Yeah, that's why the vacuum idea, I think it doesn't make sense. I could see like a low pressure sort of thing, maybe, but full on.
Yeah, like a couple PSI, like something where it's going to pop your ears or something, but it's not going to blow your head off.
Or you, I don't know if it would, I don't know enough about physics or something, but I don't know if you could fill the tunnel with something less friction than air. Like, is nitrogen less rubby? It'd be more about the weight. It'd be the density helium, of it. Yeah. Is helium less frictional than the rest of the air? I don't know.
I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, as long as the molecules are smaller, right? Then I'd imagine that you'd have less friction. You're gonna definitely have less weight, because air can be heavy. Like if you compress it, it gains a lot of weight, right? And then that weight's pushing against you. So it's I could see you using a lighter element, but at the same time, then what, does everybody just like suffocate when it gets breached? It seems like a bad idea to put people in a vacuum chamber without spacesuits. It just does not seem like a good idea to me. And then the other thing is, then you have to have complicated airlocks where they enter into an airlock, they have to repressurize it, then they have to open up, let people out, let people in, then repressure, depressurize it, and then shove it back into the tube and keep it going. But it just seems like it's ripe for catastrophic failure. The other problem you have is that the loop is above ground. Like the Hyperloop as it's designed today, they want to run it above ground. And the problem is, if you run it above ground, now you have the sun shining on it, which the thermal expansion at the top of the tube is more than at the bottom of the tube. So now you have all these seals all over the place that become a liability and fail from just the stress of being constantly expanded and contracted.
If you're going to put it above the ground, you might as well just take Japan's bullet train tech and do that.
Exactly. And that's what I think, is I think bullet train isn't better than what we already have. We just need to take what we already have and improve it. Like the bullet train, I think, can do 300 kilometers an hour or something like that, 350. I mean, it hauls ass. It goes a lot faster than most cars do. So I think the money's better invested in just creating a system like that, like Japan has, and just expand on it and make it larger. Plus, it just looks cool as hell. The Hyperloop doesn't look cool. Honestly, the Hyperloop just looks like a giant oil pipeline to me. Like, you don't see what's going on inside of it. You don't see anything. It's like, I want to see these cool futuristic trains going back and forth. Maglev trains are awesome, right? They look cool. Yeah. They're shaped cool. They're like these little spaceships floating along. You're inside of it, and you can look outside and see the scenery flying by at hundreds of miles an hour. I think that is a really cool reason to get on there. Being in a tube with not seeing shit outside, like, that would be annoying. That would be really, really annoying. Now, they said they have plans to, like, put cameras outside of the tubes and then put windows that look like windows, but they're screens, and then they basically photo stitch them together. But it's not the same. It's not the same.
More complicated than it needs to be. That's just...
I agree. So I'm going to call it right here, and I hope I'm wrong, actually. This is one of the ones that I'd love to be disproven on. And to be fair, I was also one of the people that thought Elon was absolutely crazy for landing a rocket on its ass end like a pencil on your fingertip. And we all see that that's like the most reliable like transport system ever developed. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that, do I hope it happens? Yes, because I think the concept of Hyperloop is like really futuristic and cool. But do I think it's practical enough to actually be deployed in any large scale? I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is you're going to have all these countries like Virgin and stuff. They're going to start drilling. They're going to start creating these tunnels. And then they're just going to keep having delays and second and third and fourth rounds of fundings and billions of dollars going into it. But we're just not going to see the end of it. It's just going to be this infinite money pit. And Thunderfoot compared it to Theranos. And I really think he's right on that it's everybody's dumping money into it because they think it's this great concept and everything, but there's just nothing to prove that it's going to work over this very large scale and be reliable. Nick said, I think our issues with the maglev trains is not geolocation, but the power delivery infrastructure compared to Japan and U.S. grid is the third world country. No, I do agree with that. But the other thing, too, is we could completely power the system off of renewables, like wind and solar and everything like that. It would be very, very trivial to have a system like that be completely independent powered and have its own grid. And I also think that that's kind of critical, being that it's basically like, think about this. If an airplane fell out of the sky when the power grid went down, we'd be in trouble and a lot of us wouldn't get on airplanes. I think transportation needs to have its own power source. I don't even like the idea of like monorails being powered from the grid, because if it goes down, then the thing basically, the maglev train would just collapse on the track, right? Yeah, you don't want to be doing that at like 200 miles an hour. So I believe that the transportation system should have its own power supply. Like, it should not be reliable, or it shouldn't be reliant on the same level of service that we need for, like, heating up a kettle or cooking a bean burrito. It should literally be its own system. Yeah. And I don't think that'd be, I think it'd be actually pretty trivial today, because solar panels are super efficient. We have better, more efficient ways of storing, like with flow batteries and stuff like that. We have mass storage for electricity. So they keep it going through the night. I mean, hell, we even figured out how to use like molten salt to hold heat to turn water and run turbines. So we have not long term, but short term enough to go through the night. We don't have really good long-term energy storage, except for like, gravity systems where they basically feed water up to the top of a dam and then open it up, and then they use the excess power during the day to pump the water back to the top. It's not very efficient. Well, actually, it's efficient compared to a lot of things, but that would be more long-term storage, as long as you don't factor in evaporation and stuff like that. But realistically, you don't need the long-term storage. You just need to basically have enough power to reliably get through the night. So that, when the sun comes up, you're always going to have somewhere along that long route, you're going to have enough wind, you're going to have enough solar, maybe use some tidal generators out in the ocean, tide generators, mix all that together, and you're going to have a constant power source. And the best part is you can feed the excess, because of course you'd have to build the system to be, like 10 times your needs, just as a safety margin and to give you room for expansion to build on the system. So all that excess power it's generating, you just feed right back into the grid. And then it ends up making money. Like, you're not just paying for the rail system from the ticket sales, you're paying for it by furnishing electricity to everybody along the way. So that's cool. And that makes a lot more sense to me, because also the power requirements for Hyperloop. Here's the thing. Hyperloop is power efficient once you get the vehicle in motion, because you have no air resistance. If you use a maglev, you just need the amount of power to which isn't significant. It's actually quite a bit of power to levitate a freaking,
heck yeah,
giant loaded train.
It's no joke.
It's no joke. So, but the thing is look how much power you have to use to basically pull a vacuum on that tube. If you have a tube that's like 100 miles long, there's no way to not have leaks. Leaks are going to happen. They even said that in the Hyperloop design, you have to expect leaks, which means now you have to have these constant vacuum pumps that are constantly pulling a vacuum on the tube 24/7, not just in the airlocks, but in the actual main run. So even when people aren't moving through it, or it's going to be constantly draining power 24/7. Whereas with a conventional train system, if the train isn't in operation, there's no power being used. Mm-hmm. So where with the Hyperloop, it's going to be a continuous power drain. It might be more efficient in the moment of moving the people. If it's 24/7 and there's always the maximum number of people moving, then it's more efficient. But over the span of its lifetime, is it really that much more efficient? Or could that power be better used, like given the excess power back to the people when, like, not as many people are traveling, for instance?
Right.
So I just don't think Hyperloop, other than just the futuristic, oh my God, this is a cool concept, I really don't see this becoming a real thing. I think it's one of those things where it's like everybody's talking about it. It's in the news. Tons of money is being allocated to it. But like nobody's really breaking ground. Like they say they're going to, but it just keeps getting delayed and delayed and delayed.
And nobody wants to spend the money, honestly. It would be... Okay, you get California to agree, but now you still need to get like Arizona and New Mexico and Oregon. That's why it needs to be, if we do some sort of major train or railway system like that, it's going to have to come from the federal. It'll have to be a massive federal project, and which, I mean, it worked, like, kind of. In the whatever, I don't know.
You know what I think the real solution is self-driving cars. Level 5 self-driving cars.
That's true.
And it's going to take a very long, I don't think it's going to be like, not even in our lifetimes is it going to be a total thing. But I think at some point it needs to be like the freeways, Like you basically have the lane for the plebs that still want to do like me that want to drive my, my gas powered dinosaur car on the weekends. Like I think you still, because those people paid into the system to build that system, they should still be allowed to use it. But I think there needs to be like a dedicated portion of the freeway, even if it's expanded and everything, that's literally like self-driving cars, and they get on there and they are literally bumper to bumper doing 150 miles an hour, basically creating not ground effect, but basically creating a vacuum behind them to increase the efficiency of the car behind them.
Yeah, like drafting. Yeah,
drafting, exactly. So you basically have these trains of cars that are 6 inches off each other's bumpers, all perfectly coordinating.
I could see something like that happening. Like as you're coming up the on ramp onto the freeway.
Yep.
Like I-5, let's say, you'll get a bing and yeah, it would start off as like a special lane, or two.
Yeah.
And welcome to the King County automated freeway system. Please relinquish control of your vehicle. And you'll say okay, and then you'll automatically merge into the HOV lane, and whoosh,
Dude, I think that's what needs to happen. But there needs to be a mechanism where those lanes are basically restricted to those cars. That way you don't have to worry about like some dude just like whipping over into the lane and like piling up 100 cars. Because, and they all need to communicate with each other, where it's like if the front one needs to brake, all the ones behind it brake in succession from the last one to the first one. So that there's like 10 millisecond delay, but you're guaranteed that they can't pile up because each one is delayed by just a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it's like having the trailer brake on a vehicle.
There is actually, or I remember seeing at least some point, there was research being done into short range 5G like mesh network sort of thing, where in regards to autonomous driving, so that like every car within a certain rate, so your car knows where every other car within a certain radius is, because they are all communicating with each other on like a short range 5G network. And I think that is the next incremental step into. So like right now we're all developing autonomous driving as individual vehicles. At some point they will need to, and this will be the car companies and probably the IEEE will have to get together and figure out some sort of communication standard so that they can all talk to each other and know where they are and work together to make driving better and safer.
And I think all the technology exists, right? I mean, it's like we have mesh networks that have good range.
Yeah,
we have the ability for the cars to have secondary and even trinary systems. I don't know. Tertiary systems. Well, basically we have backups of backups of backups to fall back on. Like if the mesh network failed or whatever reason, it could use the cameras and the LiDAR to determine distance. If that fails, then you basically have the car basically like gracefully pull out of the lane and like basically decelerate if there's no obstacles with like a third system. You could have like all these safeguards in place that would actually do a better job than a human in that same situation, but it would have to be so freaking reliable and have so many safeguards. Otherwise people are just going to be like, we don't trust it, because humans trust humans. Like if a human crashes a car, we accept it. If an autopilot crashes the car, we don't.
Oh, it's a crazy thing.
Yeah, like when the first Tesla like drove into the side of a semi and went under it and it like decapitated the driver. Everybody was like, oh my god, even though like 100 people a year do the same thing behind the wheels and decapitate themselves, right? But it's because the car did it. We look at it as, oh my god, robots are determining our what happens to us, whereas if you're driving, you make the mistake, then it's like, oh, human error. So it's like, how do you build a system that is never even though it's better than humans, like on the whole, how do you build a system that people are going to trust and not just be like, oh, and then like there's the liability thing too. Like if your car ends up crashing into somebody and you're not driving it, like it's still your fault. Like it's still your fault because that's your car. You were in it. You were trusting the autopilot system. Right. But there's some people that are like, that's not fair because I didn't develop the software. I didn't make the decisions of hit the stroller versus hit the old guy, like in the no-win situation. It's like, so people, there's so much like bureaucracy that needs to be cleared before a level 5 driving system will be like widely accepted. But I think the thing that'll make it more widely accepted is having a little bit of a separate infrastructure for it so that you can start easing into it and you can start trusting it. And the cars have a high level of communication. So you don't have a free radical. You don't have like one human trying to drive along. Cause that's what breaks level 5 for autonomous driving is what if you're driving down the freeway and some dude just like rams his car into the side of you? There's no way for you to avoid that. If you're on the side of the road and some drunk driver's weaving into your lane, there's no way to avoid it. If you have somebody behind you and somebody in front of you, what do? Drive off into the ditch and like tumble end over end and explode? Do you let the guy sideswipe you and try to push him back, and then do you crash him into 20 other people and he kills like 100 kids? Like there's so many decisions that it's a no-win basically, right? Yep. It's a no-win scenario, and people don't like that. But if you had all the cars all intermingled and talking to each other, then you wouldn't have to worry about that. It would be like having a digital tow hook between them. And so they'd all be acting in concert. And I think in that case, people would be a lot more trusting of the system. Kind of like there's already autonomous cars. I think Google down in San Francisco, you can actually in certain places get in a car that's level 5 and drive around campuses and stuff like that, like college campuses. But they trust them there because they never go faster than like 20 miles an hour. So even if it does crash, it's, it might hurt you, but it's not going to kill you. It's not driving amongst other, a lot of other vehicles like it would be on the road. So people just implicitly trust it. But the faster it goes, the scarier it gets. And I'll tell you what, the first time I tried autopilot, like I did a video on it. There's a video on YouTube of me testing autopilot when it first came out in Kevlar Condom's car. Holy crap, was I scared, man. I was like white knuckled. My heart rate was like 100. Like every time I let go of that wheel and I'm like sitting there like this, I'm just like, oh my God, what is happening? Oh my God. And I'll tell you what, during that drive, there was a couple times where it got a little confused and it's like, oh, you need to pay attention and take control again. And it doesn't give you a lot of time. Now, I know they've greatly improved it since then. I've even driven it myself since then. And it's a lot better, but it's by no means even close to perfect. And I wouldn't trust it anywhere other than on the freeway. It does a fantastic job on the freeway.
And that's a huge part of it too. Is like there's a reason why most human accidents happen on surface streets at low speeds, like your neighborhood. There's too many random variables. The freeway, everybody's trying to do 60 plus. Everybody's heading in the same direction. There's no cross streets. There's no weirdness. There's some terrible interchanges and exit on ramps and stuff, but whatever. That's where the human needs to come over. Oh, you are approaching your exit in 1 minute. Please place your hands on the steering wheel.
Plus, what happens if it snows or something's covering the lines, or some little shithead kid comes out when it's 30 degrees outside and pours a bunch of water? Like that happened, dude.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That happened here in Washington, like in Enumclaw. There was some kids on this really like steep corner going off into the woods. They thought it'd be fun to bring 5-gallon buckets out when it was like 16 degrees outside, like Fahrenheit, below freezing for you international folks.
That's terrorism.
Pouring water all over the road to create a sheet of ice, and all the cars were basically, they'd start going around the corner, and then they'd hit the sheet of ice and basically just wash out and go off into this ditch into the woods and crash into the trees. And it was around the corner, so like everybody would crash, and then the next guy wouldn't see the crash because it started around the corner, and you're already going around the corner, which means you can't brake, because if you brake, you're just going to go off into the woods, right? So you end up having to hit the sheet of ice, and I think there was 5 or 6 cars that crashed before they were able to get out there and put flares on the road to slow everybody down. Totally attempted murder. And stuff like that happens. So the cars need to know how to deal with that, like transponders in the road. How do you scan for ice? There needs to be something in the road, something embedded in the road that tells the cars behind it what the condition of the road is and where the road is if it's covered with snow. So there has to be infrastructure there to make it safe. And as far as like attempted murder, dude, there are a lot of pranksters out there that think they're funny that lead to like killing people. Swatting kills people. We know that now, right? Barbed wire across trees on motocross tracks. I almost got killed. The second time I went riding, I got a dirt bike way back in the day. Way back in the day, I mean like 10 years ago. No, actually it was probably like 20. God, I'm old. Fuck. I had a YZ 250F, which, I went and bought this motorcycle because my friends were all riding every weekend at work. And I was like, I want to be a part of the fun. So I go buy this motorcycle, and I know how to ride dirt bikes. Like I rode dirt bikes when I was a kid and stuff, but I'm not great at it. So I get this YZ 250F, and we go out to a place called Tahuya in Belfair, Washington, which is a really popular place to ride because there's literally hundreds of miles of twisty trails. Like you can go out there and literally, like, people get lost out there. They have to send search and rescue because there's so many trails you can get turned around. And so I'm out there riding, and the guy in front of me ducks, like I see him duck down and like lay on his bike. And I'm like, so it freaks me out, and I slam on the brakes. because I was like, the way he was like fishtailing and stuff. I was like, oh shit, did he almost hit something? So I slow down, and sure shit, I see it just in time. There is a barbed wire strand at head height pulled between two trees across the trail, like literally to decapitate people. And the guy in front of me managed to drop down and get underneath it. And I slammed on the brakes just in time. I came within about 4 or 5 feet of it. Like I stopped 4 or 5 feet shy of it, and I was sitting up straight because I'm not like, I'm not like laying super low like these motocross guys. I'm sitting up straight. If I had to hit that thing, it would have gone right into my throat. Probably it would have killed me. It would have killed me, or at worst, it would have like broke my spine and pulled me off my bike. And so
fucked up.
Dude, so the whole rest of the day, I was like going really slow and like not really having a ton of fun unless it was a big opening or a big clearing and then I get back to the parking lot and I hear some dudes talking like, oh yeah, I cut down 2 barbed wires today or something like that. And it's like they encounter that shit when they're riding all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, there's somebody out there in the woods. It's like, how is that not attempted murder? It is. It absolutely is. 100%. People think, oh, I put up a piece of barbed wire, so it's the barbed wire that's killing them. It's like, no, it's not. It's like you are a murderer. Same thing with swatting. It's like you are a murderer. Like
I didn't kill him. Bullets in the fall killed him.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't kill him. I just stuck something in his mouth and put duct tape over it until he suffocated to death. Like that wasn't me. That was the sock.
Gross.
I'll never understand that mentality, man. But that was scary. I've seen the ice on the road. I've seen people put debris on the road to try to pop tires before that luckily failed horribly, and I drove through and my tires were fine. It's just crazy that people do shit like that. Like it's absolutely like, what is going through their head? Oh wow, Chris said that happens to people on snowmobiles all the time. Dude, it's got to be way harder to identify. Like that snow blind effect you get from the snow, that's got to make it like impossible to see a piece of wire going across the path. So and yeah, no joke though, like if you guys do go like riding in trails and stuff like that, it's like just be very, very aware of your area and like, pay attention to what other people are doing in front of you. Because like after seeing that, I was always super cautious. Like the only place I really opened up my dirt bike after that was like on property that was privately owned, or if I was out in the dunes. Like I'd go out in the sand dunes, and it's like there's nothing to put, unless they're putting landmines down in the sand, you're relatively safe. But dude, freaking scary. Absolutely freaking scary. Hey, Acid Burns, thank you for the $2. Said Europe has a 250 mile an hour train. Why not in the US? Probably bureaucracy.
Oh, nobody wants to spend the money. Yeah, that's all it is. Gross.
Hold on, it's not done. Oh, there we go. Now it's done.
Boo. Gross.
Hey, Dante, thank you for the 2 pounds, man. He said 2 of my favorite Tech Talk guys. How's it hanging? A little to the left, bro. Little to the left. Huh. Dude, I do miss riding dirt bikes though, but my back's too shot to do it anymore. I'm too old and I'm too decrepit. Kids, enjoy your youth because it does go away. It does go away. Starting to understand why old people are so crotchety all the time.
Yeah.
Stars said, honestly, they should put trail cameras to catch these people and beat them to within an inch of their life. I have no respect for people that do that. Apparently, there are a lot of trail cams out there at Tahuya now for that very reason. Because and I haven't been out there riding like in the last 10 years. I'm sure that whoever was doing it, I can't imagine there's a ton of people doing it. It's probably like 1 or 2 people that go out there and do it. And the reason they were doing it, like, because there was people like anonymously claiming responsibility online for it at the time. The reason they were doing it is because they felt that the dirt bikes were destroying nature.
Oh, come on.
Even though the Tahuya trails are literally paid for by tax dollars from people registering off-road vehicles. So it's just, you get those people that they're super entitled and they're like, oh, I want to save nature. What, by like killing humans? Like, okay, that logic's a little flawed, my friend. Let's see here. Do you still go to the salt baths? No. With the old COVIDs, I'm not going to go steeping in somebody else's water.
Ew.
I'm gonna wait for that to end. You have strict bot restricted word list. Feels bad, man.
It's not really. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry. It's not really a choice. Stream Elements is and YouTube both kind of have their own way of doing things, but we can unhide stuff. So
so we click unhide on the stuff that's worthy of being unhidden. So if it's not being unhidden, it's probably because we just deemed it not necessary.
I did notice Stream Elements, the bot, timed someone out for a little bit because they had put 1.2.3.4.5, and I think it interpreted that as a link, and so timed them out.
I wonder if I can stop the bot from timing people, because I don't want it to time them out. Like, I'm okay with it hiding a message if but it shouldn't be timing people out for that.
Yeah, it was Jarrett. Yeah, I apologized for that, but yeah, I think it interpreted it as a link, and I'm sure there's some setting in the tool or whatever. That's not the right word. The dashboard.
Yeah.
Where you can. Yeah.
I'll take a look. I'll take a look at it before the next stream. We'll see if we can lighten up the bot a little bit, because we have enough moderators on deck. I mean, Miss Liz, she's like in every stream. Miss Liz is like, she's the boss. So
BT Dubs, killer eyeshadow game. Okay, like I meant to say this on Twitter, but I'm just gonna say it here because I'm thinking about it and I know she's here. Killer, like top tier fucking eyeshadow game. Super fucking cool. Like, good job. I just wanted to call that out.
Wait, what's eyeshadow game?
Her eyeshadow, man.
Eyeshadow, like on the eyes. Okay, man. I'm like, what's eyeshadow game? Yeah, no.
Her eyeshadow game is fucking top tier.
Yeah, Miss Liz is pretty adorable. Like I told her on Twitter the other day. I was like, you're the most adorable mod that isn't married to me. See, you got to qualify that shit, man. I've learned. She literally is, though, on every stream, like every Twitch stream, every YouTube stream. Mm-hmm. She's like one of those workers that deserve, like, I need to send her a certificate or something like that. It's like, you've never missed a day of work in like 2 years, and I don't pay you, I don't give you anything, and somehow you still just rock star, absolute rock star. So Miss Liz, thank you so much. Exactly. We love our Miss Liz. What DNS server are you using? Currently, I think I'm using Cloudflare. Last time I checked, I was using Google, and then I was like, yeah, I don't really want Google to like see me going to like Pornhub every 5 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch that over to old Cloudflares.
They probably know anyway.
They do. I mean, it's one of the scariest things I've ever done, and I still haven't made a video on it. I really need to. I need to make a lot of videos, actually. Is all the mechanisms that are used by every site that you go to determine like personal information on you, and how they can build a dossier where it's like no specific visit gives them the whole picture, but when they culminate the whole thing together and then connect that database with other databases like Microsoft's database and like social media and stuff like that, when they connect all those entities together, you end up getting an insanely focused dossier on people. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely crazy. Like the amount of stuff that they know, and I mean know everything about you. They know the username that you're logged into on your computer. They know your IP address at any given time. They can connect that to another database and collate it and get your phone number and your address. They can then go correlate that to every single post that you've made in a forum, whether it's in an alt account or it's your primary account. Then they can mark it to you on your other accounts and draw in the dossier, figure out what alt accounts belong to what primary account. It's really crazy. So like all the things that you think you're anonymous online, you are not. You're not, even if you're using VPNs. Like VPNs can help if you use them properly, but all it takes is just one fuck up or one lack of knowledge of what's transpiring, and you completely defeat the entire purpose of the VPN for any kind of anonymous nature. Using things like Tor. It's like, yeah, you're going to the site and it's being obfuscated, encrypted through a bunch of IP addresses and everything like that, but you can still get honeypotted, which they can figure out where it came from. You can also, they can also take information from your browser. If you're using like the Tor browser for like going to regular sites and Onion sites, they can actually basically correlate that information. And then if you go to the same site without Tor just once, they now have that linking data that everything you've ever done over like the last 10 years is now linked because of that one view from a different browser that you went to. So remember, everything that's collected online is for like ever. So everything is retroactive. So just because something, like if they figure out in a month, you go to some website, somebody gets you to click on a website or something on Twitter, and you go to this redirecting website and they get your IP address and they get the account that you're logged into on Twitter or whatever, which, you know, they can get through API. They get that information. Now they can go back retroactively and look at the data over the last 10 years and line up as many data points as they possibly can. What was the resolution of your monitor? What was the color depth? What was your name at the time? What was your IP address? Was it the same subnet? Was it owned by the same ISP? Was the IP address owned by the ISP that owns the other 5 IP addresses that they found also related to that went to that same account and logged in? And you basically get the spider web of data that can be put together instantaneously by a computer that draws, a dossier on you, and they know everything about you and everything that you've done back to the beginning that any of that data was logged. And if you use an operating system like Microsoft Windows, it's like the telemetry they send, every piece of telemetry they send by itself is not personally identifiable, but when you connect them all together, just Microsoft's data, not even any external data, you can get a personally identifiable piece of information by just connecting all the data points together that they're individually sending.
Yeah.
So just beware. You're not anonymous online. Like I know that some people feel like that, and I love VPNs, but I don't use VPNs to be anonymous. Like that's not the point. I use them for to basically just prevent attacks and to get around blocks.
Why did we let them do this? Convenience.
Exactly. You nailed it, dude.
Convenience. Free services.
Free, man.
That's why. You're
like seriously, imagine if you had to pay for everything that you use online. Okay, let's just hypothetically, let me pull up calculator. Let's just say that the average cost of a service is $10 a month. Okay, I think that's fair. Let's say $10 a month. Sure. So let's say, okay, your Gmail account. Let's say that's $10 a month. Okay, let's say your Twitter account's $10 a month. Let's say go ahead.
Well, and not just to use Gmail, but think about storage.
Yep.
I have 40 gigabytes or something for my email, and that's free basically. It's attached, or my Google Drive. I have something like 15 gigs with them storage. Yeah. Just you could go down a deep rabbit hole. So we'll keep it top level, just the services themselves.
Yep.
I'm not.
So here, try this.
Not storage, not the extra stuff.
So Google, let's say that. Okay, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Let's just throw TikTok in there. What the hell? TikTok. Let's say Discord.
Yep.
Let's say Skype.
Twitch.
Let's say Streamlabs or Stream Elements. Let's say Twitch. Using Twitch. YouTube. Which YouTube would actually, okay, I'm already at $100 a month. So you're already at $100 a month just with like some social media stuff. Then you throw in like Reddit. You throw in, let's say, a half dozen news sites. Let's throw in let's throw in 4chan for good measure. Let's go ahead and throw in like, what are other things that we don't even think about? Oh, search engines. So you got to use like Google and Google. Let's add that on there. Okay, I'm up to $180 a month. And this is at a conservative $10 a month estimate. When you're talking about services that are giving you like 100 gigs of storage and stuff like that, it'd be significantly more. So I'm at 180. Could you imagine paying $180 a month? And that's not including every other site that you go to.
Yep.
Like, okay, let's include porn sites. So let me add $800. Okay, $980 a month is what you would be paying.
Ridiculous.
It's just crazy to think about. And the reason you don't pay for it is because they are literally selling your data, or they're using their data to market things to you and taking a cut of it.
And like, it's a balance, in my opinion. Like I'm okay with the data that they collect from me. I'm not embarrassed, and I see the other argument, and like I understand it, but like I don't know, it's and I don't understand. I admit that like I don't understand why I'm more comfortable with a company having that data versus the government having. Like, I'm okay that Google has all of the data on me that they do because they're using it to make money, right? They're trying to sell me something. Yeah. And that's been the case for decades. Advertisement has been trying to collect data on you since advertising has been a thing. I think it's scarier when the government tries to use that private data because I feel like their motives are more nefarious. I don't think Google is going to come and kick my door down and take me away to some anonymous prison because I Googled, Communist Manifesto. The government would probably do that, that kind of a thing. And and yeah, government has everything. Company has a national security letter away. Yeah, they can confiscate this stuff and whatnot. But like, there's like a, I don't know. It's a weird sort of thing.
Yeah, everything though. Just make no mistake. Everything that you do online is tracked. But here's the thing that'll relieve. Like this is like I can also offer a counterpoint as to why you don't have to worry so much about it. Is as long as you're not doing anything that is drawing attention from somebody, there is so much data being collected that. Other than the algorithms basically using your data as a means to market to you and to profit from you, usually you don't get a lot of humans engaging on that data purposefully and targeted unless somebody has a reason to. So like, unless you're doing like really, really terrible shit that translates into the real world and causes real problems for people, chances are all that data that's been collected on you over the last 20 years is strictly going to be used just for marketing shit. Like at the end of the day, it's going to be used to make money. It's either going to be used primarily by the company to market to you and sell things, or to do affiliate things with third parties and them taking a cut from it. Or the worst possible one is just straight up selling your data. Like, which a lot of people do. Like, you can even see it in the EULA. Like, you read the Facebook EULA, and it's like they reserve the right to share information with third parties. What they mean by share information with third parties, they mean sell it to third parties. Yeah. They're basically just saying that we reserve the right to share it. But the condition there is that they are actually selling it to those companies. And those companies are then using that data to figure out how to manipulate you into buying things or to think a certain way, for instance.
Right. And I think it's really good that it seems that most of the companies that track you are unwilling to just turn that data over to the police, to the government and things without a very good cause. Like, I think it's super cool that Apple didn't unlock that iPhone for that thing that happened in San Diego a few years back. I think it was like a shooting or something, and the FBI sued Apple to force them to unlock this iPhone, and Apple fought back and said, no, we can't do that, and it isn't their place to put in. San Bernardino, that's what it was. Yeah. I think, like, terrible event, tragedy.
Yeah, it's not about the event, though. This is about what would happen had they done that.
It was right for them to dig their heels in, because that would have set a precedent to allow the FBI to force Apple to crack into anything, any phone. And Apple's major thing is their encryption and privacy. And yeah, the FBI ended up getting into it anyway. They paid someone else to do it, but it's like they shouldn't be forced to. And like, even right now, there's a push in the government to force these tech companies to build in back doors for the government. The thing is, if you do that for the government, that allows other people, bad actors, access to. So
imagine what would happen though. Like, think about it from a user perspective. So I have an iPhone, right? Probably not for long with the way they've been fucking doing things lately, but currently I have an iPhone and I actually quite enjoy it. But imagine what would happen if Apple had have complied and unlocked that device. Yeah. That would have sent a message to every single one of their users everywhere that they are willing to comply with anything. Like, so if you send like nudes to your wife or your significant other or something like that, Apple would basically be telling you that if the police wanted to see that, they would just hand it over with no fight. They don't care about your privacy. And the second they don't care about your privacy, they lose a huge amount of their customer base. Because one thing I notice is there's a lot of people that say, I don't mind. Like, I really don't mind. They're like, oh, I don't have anything to hide. But the thing is you're just not thinking about it. You have a lot to hide, actually. Everybody does. You have a lot to hide. Even if it's something that you don't think needs to be hidden, once you realize how that can be used to completely fuck you over, you're going to change your mind really quick. And do you really want to do that after the fact, after the damage is done? Like, case in point, I have a lot of people who are like, oh, I don't care if they collect my data, my browser collects my data or whatever. And to a certain extent, I actually don't even really care, depending on the context, right? But the thing that you will care about is when you realize that data that was collected on the browser was then ultimately used to actually break into your email account or break into your iCloud and download all your encrypted pictures, the personal pictures that you sent to your wife and the things that should have remained private. And then you're like, oh, what I really meant was I didn't mind if they spied on me in just the web browser. But you don't realize that data that they collect through the web browser can be expanded upon and can be joined to other things to breach other services. And that's how a lot of attacks work. A lot of attacks aren't direct. Like, if you try to just brute force Gmail, good luck. Gmail has a lot of safeguards in there that basically say you only have so many attempts. Then there's going to be a cooldown. If the attempts are coming from multiple IPs, they're going to lock you down. So just keep that in mind. I mean, you want, even if you think that your life is a complete open book, you still don't want companies to just be able to hand over. Holy shit. Did that just happen?
Chatterbox, $62.50, man.
Whoa!
Sorry to interrupt your flow there, but dang.
No, that's worth interrupting.
I don't. Do we still have our fireworks?
Dude, let me find my fireworks.
We need a bell or something.
I found it. Hold on, here's the fireworks. Pew, pew. Oh, why is fireworks not working? Hold on, let me move it up. I gotta move it to the top. There we go. Woo, boom, boom. This is the ghetto way of doing it. Okay, girl, let me put the fireworks over there. Okay, you see the fireworks? Here we go. Pew, 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 pew. Chatterbox, thank you so much for that $50, man. Seriously, pay him for the show today. We really appreciate it. For those of you guys that don't know, if you're just joining us, the super chats are what float this entire show, and we split them 50-50. That's how we've always done things. That's how it'll always be done. He said, okay, we got to read his message here. Chatterbox said, "Hi, fellows. Great tech talk. Thank you, sir, for your support." He said, "Question, how did you come up with your name, AuxxZillary? Epic name. Barnacules, love you long time. Thanks for the great explanation as to why we let them gather all our info." You're very welcome. And yeah, where did the name AuxxZillary come from?
So, years ago, and I want to say this was right around when I moved down to California, or before. I think it was before.
Hipster.
I knew I wanted to have a unified online presence. I had a bunch of different usernames, and my Xbox, I can't remember, the screen name was one thing, and my Steam name was something else, and it was all scattered and stuff. I knew I was getting to a point where I needed one unified brand on the internet, and none of the old usernames and stuff that I had been using really made sense. And I was thinking about how to create a name, was a cool kind of a pun or some sort of combination. And I think I remember looking at I was looking around where I was at, and I remember seeing the aux plug on a stereo or something, and I was like, oh, that's an auxiliary plug, AuxxZillary. I broke that out into two, a first and a last name, and that became my unified presence on the internet.
And it's actually strangely fitting here too, because you're my co-host on TechTalk, and so you're the auxiliary host.
Yeah, and I always liked that. And that was part of the thought process. Was it's an alternative. The way the branding could work was very flexible. It's an alternative input, right? And so if I got into spewing opinion piece, well, that's a good way of spinning it. Or this is just a different way of. How you gave ideas? AuxxZillary Clinton, nice. But yeah, it was it just hit me, and it worked. It was available. That's why I did the 2 X's, and
that's smart.
Whatnot.
That's smart. It's trademarkable too.
Most online games require at least a 4-letter name. So I added the extra X. And then Zillary, that was the back end of the word. It worked. It was great, and I love it. It's mine.
I think it's good because one, you can trademark it because it's not a well used word in any known language. Well, it only has to be in English if it's here in the United States. So it's trademarkable. It's actually easy to remember. I find auxiliary, but the most important thing that you mentioned there was that it doesn't typecast you into a role. Yeah. And that's one of the things I did with Barnacules, and then I put Nerdgasm on it because I'm a nerdy guy. But the idea with branding, and Barnacules is a terrible branding, by the way, because it's actually a really hard name to spell. It's not phonetic. So in hindsight, I should have made it something else back in the day. But it's live and learn and move on. But your name is actually really, really good because it doesn't typecast you into a role, and that's the biggest complaint that I hear from my friends on YouTube that do YouTube, is that their names typecast. Even some of them have even changed their names, right? They've literally up and changed their names in the middle of business just because they were so typecast into a role. The one that comes to mind would be the 3D printing guys, like Joel, right? 3D printing nerd. It's 3D printing nerd. It's really hard for him to break away from 3D printing and do something else. Yeah. The next big thing, right? Because but still, because he did 3D printing nerd, that doesn't really imply that he's just going to do 3D printing. He's just a 3D printing nerd. He nerds out over 3D printing. But it still kind of typecasts him into that role of 3D printing. And there's a lot of people that do that tie themselves to a role. And it's then it makes it really, really hard for you to adapt and move.
It sets an expectation. Of
exactly, Bitwit.
If you see the, I'm going to the 3D printing nerd channel, and it's car stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
That doesn't make sense. So yeah, it just the name sets an expectation.
And auxiliary doesn't set any expectations. So if somebody just goes to your channel and is auxiliary, or they just find auxiliary where they're searching for something, it's they're going to be whatever you happen to be doing is what they were searching for, and they're complacent with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're 3D printing nerd and somebody comes to your channel, it's like, and all you're doing is reviews on, cars or, I don't know, a vacuum cleaner.
Whatever, cheese. Yeah,
whatever, cheese. Like, yeah, reviewing food, people are going to be like, bring back the 3D printers, And so it does make it like significantly harder later on to like move into something else or to have a more diverse audience. Right. But yeah, Bitwit, that's a good example. What was Bitwit before, what was his channel name before Bitwit? I forgot.
I don't even know.
So, but yeah, he changed his name to Bitwit because he was having branding issues. Maker's Muse is an amazing name in branding. Oh yeah, no, Maker's Muse is pretty good because like a maker is.
It was awesome.
But it still does kind of typecast him into a role a little bit because like later on, if he does something that isn't maker related or creating something, that can be a little bit confusing. Oh yeah, he was Awesome Sauce. Yeah,
was Bitwit in the past because isn't his company still like Awesome Sauce Group or something, isn't it? It's like
I'm not really sure why he changed.
I think that's a higher level.
I'm trying to figure out why he changed his name though, because other than it being shorter, Awesome Sauce to me seems like it's more memorable and it'll click and easier than Bitwit.
It's like the Awesome Sauce Network now, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I wonder why he did that name change. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm seeing the video from like 2014, 2016. Former Bitwit was formerly Awesome Sauce Network. I'm seeing it on his LinkedIn.
Interesting.
Oh, I guess the whole Awesome Sauce Network changed the name, and so
I'll have to ask him why that is. Oh, you know what? I bet you it had something to do with trademark. I'd be willing to bet that at some point there was something else that was Awesome Sauce that basically he was competing for because it was just too common of a name.
Yeah.
And so he probably changed it to Bitwit because, Bitwit is a unique, made up word. So, and that's what you want your name to be. Like if you're going to be a company or you're going to have a business, you want your name to be something that would never be contested in a court on a trademark. Like if you trademarked it, like come in, it's like, oh, the name of your company is, Landscaper Incorporated. Like there's a million Landscaper Incorporated. People say landscape all the time. But if I go to court with my trademark and it's like, oh, somebody's challenging you for using Barnacules Nerdgasm, two nonsensical words put together, yeah, they're going to have a hard time being able to prove that they have a right to use that when I own the trademark on it. So naming is a strategy.
Right.
Chris asked if I operate as a corporation. Yes, I am an S Corp.
I'm about to be an LLC.
You going to do the LLC?
I think so.
That's actually the best one to start out with, but at a certain point after you make, like, I'm not even making enough money to, like, an S Corp's actually hurting me now. Is somebody like mowing or something?
Yeah, there's some mowing going on.
Oh yeah, because I keep hearing. Hey, dude, you should fire up the old RTX voice.
I thought I did. I thought I had it going. I guess it's not.
It's all right. Neighbors mowing is all part of the game. Yeah. Let's see here. Is it Vadio? He said. Okay, so he said could be that he was being found in searches for foodies rather than in tech searches, so it was better to change it. Oh, okay.
Oh man, Awesome Sauce. Yeah. Like
I could see that.
Sure.
Oh, maybe he can't trade it because Awesome Sauce is in the Oxford Dictionary. Is it really? If it's a proper word, you can't trademark it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, S Corp. So the way it works, if you guys want to incorporate your businesses, is LLC is like the best starting corporation if you're only making like maybe between like $10,000 and $50,000 or $10,000 and $60,000 a year. But then you hit a point where the LLC actually starts working against you, and you end up paying more taxes than you should. And so that's where an S Corp comes in handy. Is I think if you make an excess of like $120,000 a year, S Corp helps you. That's why I'm saying it's hurting me right now because I haven't made that kind of money in like over 3 years. Yeah. But when you make over that amount of money, then the S Corp actually allows you like some more latitude and how you can like allocate those funds and write-offs and things like that actually help you out, especially if you have people on payroll. Like, as an LLC, you can be a single person, whereas with an S Corp, you have to have a board of directors. Technically, you can be all 4 board members if you want. Like, it's so stupid how they do it. But me and my wife are both 50-50 partners, and we both technically take a salary from the company. And because of that, it changes the taxation of the money because the corporation isn't making all the money. It's the corporation makes some of the money and then it pays me a salary. And then those are both taxed at completely different rates. Right. So just talk to a tax person though. That's the person that you want to talk to. Like if you're thinking about starting a corporation, don't just go fill out the paperwork and be like, oh, I'm going to be an LLC, or I'm going to be an S corp, or I'm going to be a sole proprietorship. Like definitely talk to a tax person and explain to them what your business is, what your projected income is, like what are your spending habits, like what percentage of that money is spent for personal versus business, and let them know all that stuff, and then they will tell you which one is the proper business for you to become. And you can transition out of it if you need to. Like you can go from an LLC and an S corp. It's kind of expensive, but you know, once you get to that point, then you can transition, and it's going to be a lot better for you than just going S corp if you don't make that kind of money. So make sure that you factor that in.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I okay. Thank you for reminding me. I missed one of the tips. Hey, Douglas Pocknet Jr. My God, why is that lawnmower so loud? It's like
oh, I'll turn my mic down a bit. That'll help.
I wonder if I have a compressor on you. Let me see. I think I might have a compressor on you. Oh no, the compressor is off for you. Okay, hold on.
Oh wow, I'm uncompressed.
You are uncompressed, sir.
All right, let me see.
I do have a gain on you though, but I don't have a compressor.
What is the audio device I have in Skype? What is it?
It's just so weird because I don't know why it's so loud. Like it's like kind of quiet and it goes and just like maxes out.
It's a monster, like not sit down right on, but one of those big ones that you stand behind and it like.
Now we can't hear you at all.
Oh,
what? It's okay. Just crank it back up. We'll live with it.
No,
we'll live with it.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Did I break it? Oh, okay.
No, you're good. You're back up in the level where you're supposed to be.
Default communications device. Okay, so what is my default communications?
Hey, Douglas Pocknet, thank you for that $5 super chat, man. We really do appreciate that support. He said, hey, quick question. What method would you recommend debloating a Windows 10 build? I mostly want to get rid of all the extra apps. Well, I mean, the best way to just get rid of the extra apps is literally just to open up the application store on your computer and just start uninstalling them. Like you can also do it through add remove programs and also remove the features that you're not using.
Like some of those don't even give you the option to uninstall.
That is true. The ones that you can't uninstall, though, those are the stubs. And there is a way to remove the stub. Basically, the stub is basically like a placeholder for it. Like it allocates a little bit of hard drive space and it downloads like a little piece of code. And then when you first open it, it downloads the rest of it. Some of the stubs can't be removed for some reason, but you can actually remove them with a tool called DISM, D-I-S-M-E-X-E. So just look up DISM on Google, like DISM how to remove apps, and they'll give you all the command lines that you can type to remove all of the stubs for like Candy Crush and all that shit. For some reason, they don't let you do it through the UI. Well, for some reason, I know exactly why they do it. But they don't let you remove it through the UI, but you can actually do it through the command line. So, and that's true for some of the Windows features too. There's some Windows features that you can remove only through the command line because they basically made it so you couldn't do it in the UI because they figure if you know how to go out to the command prompt and do it, you're a power user, so you know what you're doing. Whereas if you're going through the UI, they consider you not a power user, so they limit it there instead of just everywhere. Oh, he's like at 30% the volume? No, he's good now. Like I'm getting his levels. He's perfectly fine now.
You've got my levels.
Let's see what else we got going on over here. Hopefully that answers your question. The other thing that I would caution you against though, and I kind of figured this out the hard way and I need to do an updated video because I feel like I'm sending a bunch of people into the abyss with my old video, is using those programs that disable a bunch of stuff through the registry, like Do Not Spy 10 and there's another one that I used to use. I don't really recommend using those programs anymore. And the reason being is Microsoft keeps releasing a bunch of updates that slightly change what those registry tweaks do, and they don't heavily test them. So I found that with the current builds, like, even 1903, 1909, and 2004, those builds seem to have all kinds of weird problems that occur when you go through and enable all those settings in those programs. So what I would recommend that you do is if you want to block telemetry and stuff like that, do it at your router. Like literally go to your router and reroute the IP addresses and the host names for Microsoft to something else. There's tutorials on Google on how to do that. Just do a search for, how to stop Windows 10 telemetry with router. It's especially easy if you have like DDWRT or Tomato running on your router. And you'll have a lot better success because when you try to block those things, like basically by changing the permissions on the folders and shit, it's not really it's gonna cause you problems is what it's gonna do. And they're going to be weird. They're going to be weird transient issues that don't make sense. And you're just going to be like, why is this shit not working? Oh, why is this weird thing unstable? And it usually ends up being that Microsoft just did not test the side effect of that registry key being tweaked because they no longer allow users to do it through the user interface. What were you laughing at?
Huh?
What were you laughing at? You were laughing a couple of times. I wonder if you saw something funny.
Just giggling some of the words, just some of the stuff in chat. Just nothing.
They're just going on about stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Toadash said, get AppX package. All users get started. Remove app package. That would remove the get started app. Oh yeah. Okay. So, but that needs to be run, I believe, under PowerShell. So just to be clear, that is a PowerShell command and not a command line command. So I think he even said that earlier. Did he? PowerShell scripts get rid of things. Yeah. So PowerShell has a lot of features for controlling stuff inside of Windows, but you can also do a lot of it from the command line too using DISM. But the PowerShell thing is definitely the more powerful. Well, it's PowerShell. It's definitely the better method to do it. And people have written scripts. Just again, be careful because there's some things that you can remove that you can't put back. Like, for instance, I found out the hard way that if you remove the search component, like you can actually, like through AppX get package, you can basically like remove Windows search, and then it ends up breaking a bunch of stuff in the web browser. It breaks a bunch of shit in Explorer. It causes instability and crashes, and you can't add it back. So, and don't remove the store. Oh yeah, that's the big one too. And this is the one that I need to go amend my old video on. Is I show people how to remove the store because a lot of people don't like the store, but what you don't realize when you remove the store, there's a lot of other stuff on the box that actually has a dependency on the store that it ultimately breaks, and it also causes instability because there's a bunch of shit that blocks on the store talking back, and if the store doesn't there, it just causes random hangs and micro burps and stuff like that.
Oh wow!
And you can't put it back. Once you remove it, it's gone. Like if you remove the store, you cannot add it back. So do not remove the store. You can hide the store. You can hide the store if you want, but don't remove it. If you remove the store, you're gonna have a bad time. And it used to be okay on the older builds, but on the later, like last 3 or 4 builds, removing the store is pretty damn detrimental, and not being able to get it back. And you can't do a restore point either. This is the other thing that Microsoft really screwed up, and I wish that they'd fix this bug, but they're not going to because it's not mainstream enough. Is if you remove packages with the app get package PowerShell script or using DISM, you will break your restore points. If you try to do a restore point, like you fuck up your computer and you're like, okay, I'm just going to go back to a restore point, it will fail the restoration and say that it was unable to complete the restore, and it'll revert back. And then if you go look deep in the logs, the reason it fails is because when it's doing the restore, it basically tries to reset the settings for all those apps. And if any of them are missing, instead of just skipping them, it basically aborts the whole recovery.
Huh.
So do not use, don't do that. Bite Me said micro stutters. Yeah, that's like where your computer just randomly locks up. Like you're moving the mouse and then everything just pauses for a second and then it goes, and then it pauses for a second. You're playing a video game and it just freezes for a second and then it goes, and then it freezes for a second and it goes. That's micro stutter. And it's very, very annoying.
Crazy.
So be careful removing stuff from Windows. That's something that I used to do a lot that I don't really do so much anymore. Now, if I want to block telemetry or I want to do something like that, I'll usually go in and just like disable the service so that I can easily bring it back instead of removing it. Or I'll go and block stuff at my router so that basically the computer can never call home. And there's other things that you can do too. Like, my favorite one for like, it doesn't do a lot for telemetry, but if you want to disable your computer constantly sending, dump files to Microsoft whenever a program crashes, which could contain a lot of sensitive information, just enable, metered connections. If you go into your network connection, you enable metered connections, it forces Microsoft to basically not use bandwidth without telling the user, which means that they're not going to upload the giant dumps. They'll still upload the light telemetry, but they won't upload the dump files, and they won't download Windows updates without your knowledge. Like, you have to actually go down and click and say, I want to download and I want to install these updates. So a lot of people were asking me, how to stop Windows updates, automatically updating their system. The easiest way by far is just to enable metered connection. And you can do that under your network settings. And I like it. I like it a lot.
There you go.
Let's see here. If you want to remove the store, get Windows LTSC. LTSC is okay. Like, I usually don't recommend it to people unless it's a professional environment, because LTSC also has a lot of other things disabled. So if you're a gamer, it can cause some problems. The other thing with LTSC is you're not going to be getting some of the updates routinely, which have some really cool stuff in them. Like, I have to admit, Microsoft, like you were just talking about this, I think the other day on your other stream, AuxxZillary, is build 2004 has the new Linux stuff in it. Dawn was talking about, right? WSL2?
WSL2, yeah.
So that's all in build 2004. So basically it's no longer virtualized. It's like bare metal Linux running under Windows.
And the cool, I think the cool part about the WSL update is the GPU access. It has
hardware GPU access.
Pass through. That's what I was.
Yep.
Thinking. Yeah.
So
that's very cool.
Yeah. So if you've ever wanted to play around with like any Linux stuff native under Windows 10, especially as a software developer, you don't want LTSC. And there's other limitations too. Where LTSC shines is where you need a computer that's just sitting in the back of your, like a headless server or something like that. You just have a computer sitting somewhere doing something reliably and you just don't want to touch it. You don't want to mess with anything. You just want it to work for the thing that you're doing. But as far as like your desktop computer, if you're doing, content development, gaming, and you want to be on that bleeding edge, LTSC is basically just a really, really nerfed version of Windows that's more designed for businesses. But some people seem to like it. I'm not saying it's bad. Like if it suits your needs, absolutely use it. But for me personally, I wouldn't use it because it's just too crippled. It's way too crippled. It's even more crippled than an enterprise build in many ways. Why would you want to run Linux under Windows? Actually, the simplest answer for that is you're just a raging nerd and you're a developer. Yeah, exactly.
Software development.
Because keep in mind, Microsoft has moved towards multi-platform software development. Like Microsoft, the .NET framework is now officially supported across Linux and OS 10. And it's even supported on devices like Samsung TVs and stuff like that. I think there's like 24 different classes of devices and operating systems that .NET is now supported under. .NET Core, mind you, not the whole thing, but .NET Core. And because of that, it's beneficial to you as a developer to be able to build a Linux binary and a Windows binary and test it on the same platform. So you can just build your code and you can just run it and test it. And you don't have to have like a Linux box and build it and transfer it over and try it, or have a VM that you have to build it and transfer it in and then run it under the VM. So it's just better.
Do you hear the mower?
Oh yeah, she's loud.
Yeah, I have the RTX on. Maybe I didn't set it up right.
Oh, when you enable RTX, you have to change the microphone source in Skype. Go into Skype and change the microphone to RTX voice.
It'll that's right.
Yeah, because when you enable RTX voice, it just creates another microphone. And then once you select that one, it should like completely go away. Because that's where it excels. Like RTX voice is like, so one of its specific things is taking out lawnmowers. Let's see here. Nick said, I've used LTSC at work and built the install up to where I needed it. So much better than using Enterprise. Well, I mean, if it works for you, absolutely. But I would not recommend LTSC to anybody that's like, a hardcore gamer and content creator. And plus, if you're into stuff like virtual machines and things like that, LTSC is a big disadvantage because you have to wait forever for all the hypervisor upgrades and everything to come over. That they've been tinkering with that a lot in later builds. But I will say for stability, if stability is your biggest thing. Oh, wait, here, say something.
Am I going to say something? Am I wicked quiet now? Do I got to boost?
Yep, boost up your audios.
Hello?
There you go. Are you RTX voiced right now?
Can I talk normal now? Yeah.
We got no mower.
Is that good?
I can here. Let me bring up your volume. I can bring it up on my side. Do you have any more volume on your side?
I could crank my levels more. Hello.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you're good now.
That's 100%.
There you go. Just when you're sitting back, just be a little bit louder. Like when you were close, it was going into the red.
Okay, there we go. Hello.
There you go. And we have no more lawnmower. Look at that.
All right, damn. That's cranked up though. Like I gotta max that shit out. They say that they can't hear me.
No, they can hear you now. It's just probably a delay on their stream.
Oh, okay.
They couldn't hear you before, but now they should be able to hear you just fine.
Swiggity, swiggity.
Because I got the meters, and the meters tell me what's going on. Mm-hmm.
Are you going to get the Xbox Series X? Probably not.
Nope. You know why? Because there's really nothing on it that they're not going to be putting on PC that I want to play. Because all the first party titles, that's the beauty of Microsoft is because, they're going to have Forza, which is all I care about is like Forza and Halo and stuff, and that'll all be on Windows 10. Yeah, we got nothing, dude. We can't hear that mower at all. Dude, RTX voice is badass, dude. That is the most awesome thing ever.
Sweet.
Yep, if you need to pull out voice. And it's like it minimally affects your voice quality too. It's like you can tell a little bit when there's loud noise. Like if the loud noise goes away, then you sound perfectly normal. But when it has to cut your voice out of the lawnmower, you can hear just the tiniest bit, but it's not even significant. Like you wouldn't notice it unless you're really, really listening for it.
PS5, probably not. As much as I would want one, and I like what Sony has done and seems to be doing in the future, I just can't justify. I don't even play my computer games enough, and yeah, so probably not.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do the Xbox Series 1X or whatever. Fuck, their naming convention's so bad. Like people are going to go out on Christmas and buy
So
like the
bad.
wrong console for their kids.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm just going to play this stuff on Windows 10. Like if you've ever played like Forza 7 or Forza Horizon 4 on PC with the graphics settings cranked up at like 4K, 60 frames per second and everything, it's like the Xbox cannot compete with it. It looks like you get HDR, you get all, I mean, it looks so much more amazing and impressive on PC. Same thing with Gears of War, like the old, was it Gears of War 4? Looks absolutely gorgeous on Windows 10. And same thing's going to be true. I mean, don't get me wrong though. The Xbox Series X is going to have really, I mean, it's going to be fast, like 12 teraflops or something. The GPU is going to be wicked fast, but it's still not going to be faster than bleeding edge computer stuff.
Never, no console ever will be.
Yeah, it won't be. So it'll be a good option for people that don't have a really high powered PC, like that would not benefit from the graphics improvements. But honestly, for the same money, I mean, we don't know. Did they announce the console pricing yet?
No, I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of.
Because I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that it's probably gonna be in the neighborhood of like $500, $600. It's gonna be up there, and they're probably gonna do something at launch where it's like you got to buy a bundle that comes with like 2 games and an extra controller for like $700 or something like that. So I think you're gonna be spending $600-700. It's like you can buy a hell of a lot of GPU for that.
Yeah,
you know.
I would like to get a Switch at some point.
Well, Nintendo's the outlier though. Everybody needs a Nintendo because you don't.
I think, because like I think for like the family, it would be a good purchase.
I think so. And no, it's good. We have 2 Switches here, and we absolutely love them. But the cool thing about Switch, what makes Switch unique, is that you're just not going to play any of the Switch games on your PC. The emulation for it sucks. It's the way that it interacts with their network and everything. It's like Nintendo has done a good job of making an island that's not easily replicated. Whereas Microsoft with the Xbox is just a PC. That's all it really is a high-powered PC. You can even plug a keyboard and mouse into the damn thing now. So it's basically just a PC that's targeted at gaming. Whereas Windows 10 with DirectX 12 and everything, you can still do the same thing. There's nothing that the Xbox is going to be able to do that the PC can't. Now, Sony, on the other hand, will I buy a PlayStation 5? It's entirely possible, because the one thing Sony does is their first-party games only release on their platforms. They will not release them on PC. They will not release them on Xbox. So the games that they do really well, and Sony's really good with the story games like Last of Us and stuff like that, I would buy the console for something like that.
I do think Sony has started to break their rule of never releasing games on PC. Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to PC. They just released Horizon Zero Dawn on PC. Despite I've been hearing some people say it's a shitty port. So I do think on their first party stuff, never. Never. But I do think they're being less strict about. Heck, I think Last of Us is coming to PC, isn't it?
I don't think so. I'll have to double check on that one, because I'm playing through on it right now on the original PlayStation 4, and it's gorgeous. Like, I cannot believe that they made a game look that good on that last generation hardware.
It's amazing.
It's freaking awesome.
They've definitely got some. They're being a little bit more flexible, and like I'll wait a year to play Final Fantasy VII on PC. When I knew that it was just a year. Oh, Death Stranding, Death Stranding coming out on PC.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah, I remember seeing that on the Epic Store. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was going to be like a Sony exclusive. Like,
yeah,
wow,
I think they're doing more of the timed exclusives. And that may be as they sunset the PS4. But I think it's good for them in general, especially if they have some sort of deal where they're still getting a cut of those game sales through the developer or whatever. Yeah, I think it's a good move for them.
Yeah, so it sounds like ultimately like the game, as long as they're making it for PC, I'm going to go with the PC every time. There's no game that I would rather play on the console than I'd play on the PC, because with the PC you have full control of the graphics. You never do on the platforms. You have full control over the input hardware, whether you want to use a keyboard, mouse, joystick, or controller. You never really have that option without like some fuckery when it comes to consoles. You have the ability to multitask. Like, you can live stream on your terms using stuff like OBS Studio and stuff like that. You don't have to use the baked in streaming shit that makes your channel look exactly the same as everybody else's, unless you connect the console to a PC, in which case, why aren't you just playing the fucking thing on the PC in the first place? It's like it just doesn't make sense to spend $600 on a console for that. And then some people are like, well, what about for the living room? Your PC's upstairs. It's like, no, not in my house. I got an HD PC on my TVs. I love having a computer on my TV. The 10-foot experience in Windows 10 is actually really, really good with a wireless keyboard. So, and you know, for things like Netflix and Hulu, the only reason that I don't use the PC is because they support higher bit rates and different settings in the television apps than they do on the PC. And that even changed a little bit. I think Netflix now, if you use Microsoft Edge, I think you get HDR10 now and 4K, which you didn't before, but you still can't do it in Chrome because it has to use some encryption matrix that Microsoft had to agree to and put in their product. Or you have to use their app. Like you have to download their app from the App Store, and then that allows you to use HDR, but you can't do it through browsers. And that's why I always use the TV app. But I can tell you right now that still on my Samsung TV, just using the built-in app for Netflix, in 4K HDR10, it looks so much better than when I use the app under Windows 10 on the HTPC.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, wow. So and I mean, it's like night and day, dude. Like it looks good on both, but like you can totally tell that, and it's a higher bit rate too. If you actually go look, the app for some reason, the app under Windows will get like a couple thousand bits per second slower bit rate. Weird. For some reason, the apps on the television and stuff, Netflix pushes a better signal to. And I think it's just because they know it's harder to pirate. Like the whole idea is because it's an app on the TV that's like encrypted and showing the video, there's no way to intercept it. Because there's no video physically coming out of the device. Whereas with your computer, you could literally just put a capture card in between it and the PC and like capture this HDR footage and like re-release it. So
interesting. That is cool. Good for that. Yeah.
So try it. Like if and this goes for all you guys. If you're watching Netflix on an HTPC or something just out of convenience, and you have a smart TV that has a Netflix app, or I think it's Netflix. I'm not sure about Hulu, but I know Netflix and Prime Video. Those are the two where the app on the television looks wildly better, like wildly better than even my Apple TV. I have an Apple TV which supports HDR10 and 4K. I watched a video on it on Netflix. I turned it off, went over to my app on my Samsung TV, and it looks absolutely way better. Like you can tell it's higher bit rate, less artifacts. It's crazy. But try it yourselves. Let me know what kind of mileage you guys get. Oh, somebody just mentioned Dr. Disrespect just dropped a video on YouTube. He's back. The D is back. Oh my God.
Whatever.
I don't get what the. Okay, first of all, I understand the whole attraction to characters and stuff like that. I get it. Like Boogie 2988 and Francis, fantastic. I love it. So I totally get that. But man, Dr. Disrespect, I don't know. You know what I think it is I think he's like legitimately a good gamer. Like he must actually, because I think that's why he gets so many viewers. Is like I know the character is a draw, but I think he's actually like legitimately a good player, which is hard to do. And he's a character, so it's like you get the best of both worlds. Yeah. Because he had yesterday, we were watching. He basically
like over 500K.
Fuck, dude. Like, he over 500,000 viewers, and the 24 hours before that, he started a blank stream that had nothing but just music playing and like a little animation of a Lamborghini, like and it raining, like in front of like a little mini mart. Yep. And it was like that for like 24 hours. He made like $50,000 in channel subs and super chats. $50,000 in one day estimated. Hey, and one day just sitting there doing nothing. And I'm like, dude, you have built an amazing fucking empire when you can do that.
Oh, for sure.
Like amazing empire. And you go to if you watch his stream, the second he started, it was just probably 10 channel members a second. And super chat. Some of these super chats being $300-$500. And you're just like, holy shit. So I'm definitely jealous. I am definitely jealous. Because holy shit, man. When you can literally just have a stream there doing nothing, making $50,000. I mean.
I mean, crazy. Good on him. It's not my style of content. I'm not like,
nor is it mine.
Whatever. But hey, good for him. Like, dude, I would never disparage a guy. Yeah. Clearly he's got a good thing going for him and he's doing a fucking great job of it. So
boy, did he turn that frown upside down though, man. Like
I do think he has said like, oh, I don't know why I got banned. I find that hard to believe.
No, he definitely knows why he got banned.
I think he's not allowed to talk about it.
Correct. Yeah, I'm 100% on that. I bet money on that.
And or he either can't or won't because it would be damaging.
Correct.
It would.
And seeing how Twitch has handled it when Twitch has come out, every time they've banned somebody else, they've come out outright and said why it was. I think the reason why they're not is because they had a they had a business relationship with them, and they're both parlaying, basically legal parlay, which is like, listen, it's mutually assured destruction. Let's just, you're banned from Twitch. We're not going to say nothing. You can't say anything. Let's just leave it at that. But it sounds like he's thinking about suing Twitch. So it sounds like whatever he did, he's more willing to air it than Twitch is. So we'll see what happens.
A bold move.
Bold move. I would have just let it lay, dude. And he still may. That might have been just posturing too. Because think about it, dude. So when he was on Twitch, what kind of viewership did he get? I want to say it was like only like 100,000 or something like that.
He was big. Yeah, he was big.
I mean, he was still the biggest thing, obviously, on Twitch. But I'm thinking like on YouTube, having like 500,000 concurrent viewers and everything. I think that all the press and all the media, and it's like, what's going on with Dr. Disrespect and the mystery behind it and stuff. So many people found him that didn't know he existed. That by him establishing himself on YouTube now, he's actually going to have a bigger audience and even higher viewership and probably make more money now being on YouTube than he ever did on Twitch, even with a contract with him.
Yeah, I do think the it'll be a spike in viewership. I think he'll level out to his normal whatever he was doing on Twitch. But yeah.
Yeah, Shikadam said he didn't even know who Dr. Disrespect was until Twitch canceled him. There you go.
Right. Yeah. And I think just like Ninja, when he moved to Mixer, there was a huge spike because it was the big thing. Everybody was talking about it. It was like hype. But then it trickled back down to his normal viewership. I think it'll be similar.
Okay, because I don't even like, that's the thing is I'm not huge on drama. I mean, drama finds me sometimes. But I'm not like, huge on drama, but even the Dr. Disrespect story like started getting me to where I was like searching for shit on YouTube. Like trying to figure out stuff that was happening to him just because it was such a big mystery. You know, it was one of those things where it's like, and I think that mystery, like ultimately he found a way to make that benefit him. Like if he had just immediately went over to YouTube and started streaming, I don't think he would have pulled near that hype. Like I think so many more people know he existed that didn't know he existed. I think the majority of his audience on Twitch, like even though they're like, oh, we're never going to leave, we're only going to stay on Twitch or whatever. No, I think a lot of them actually did go over to YouTube just for him.
No, like that's the thing. Someone early on in the stream had asked like, who has more power, the content creators or the platform? And I said the creators. You can have an art gallery, but it's useless without art. Like
exactly.
Yes, there is a power struggle there, but and especially when it comes to live streaming, if someone is popular enough, their audience, their diehard audience, a significant percentage of that audience will follow them everywhere, anywhere. So yeah, it's absolutely that. Yeah, it doesn't.
It's impressive. It is impressive though. Like I've seen a lot of people like change platforms, like Ninja. Ninja went to Mixer and like 10% of his not even 10% of his audience followed him. Like Ninja literally like went over to Mixer and everybody was like, nah, ain't moving. Like, but he was okay with that because he got paid like $20 million. And ultimately it was the best decision he ever made because Mixer went under and they had to fully pay out his contract.
I'm so bummed.
Dude got like $20 million for doing like what, 6 months of streaming?
Yeah, it's so weird. I wish I knew more about what happened there because it seemed like Mixer was actually doing really well.
They were growing. They were actually growing pretty fast. Like they were outpacing most of Microsoft's other properties.
It just seems so weird for them to just shut it down like that.
I almost think that it was less about Mixer not being a prop because Microsoft runs lots of non-profitable things just to boost their metrics. And plus Mixer was a good idea because it was the streaming platform built into their console, right? I mean, that's like a big deal. So I think what it more had to do with was like Satya Nadella in his business mind was like, I bet you we could get Facebook Gaming to give us more money for this property just to drive everybody to them and dissolve it than the money that we'd make over the period of like owning the property. And he just made the executive decision of, one less thing to manage. Let's shrink and focus.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny that they get rid of Mixer and now they're like talking about acquiring TikTok. Like, that's a little bizarre. They're getting rid of a live streaming service, but they're basically going to buy another basically social media live streaming service. Like, right. I mean, it's Microsoft makes some weird fucking decisions, man. Oh God, they do. It drives me nuts. And I hope that the thing is everything they buy, they kill. I maintain that. Like there's a couple exceptions like Skype, but even Skype's on borrowed time right now. Like Zoom's just like eating the market up and they're going to die.
Shocked at how much Zoom like overtook Skype.
Dude, Zoom is like, oh my God. Is Zoom a publicly traded company? Like, because whoever bought stock in Zoom is like a multimillionaire now. Like with a $10 initial stock buy, they're like literally buying Lamborghinis now. It blows my mind that they did that. Yeah, Skype's been dying for years. That actually is true. No, TikTok isn't banned. They got 45 days, and Microsoft looks like they're the interested party. So unless TikTok... here's the thing, is TikTok is in a shitty situation right now. Let me explain. Because they have 45 days. Now, granted, this depends on... They're probably going to sue. I'm pretty sure that the entities... Because TikTok's U.S. operation is a U.S. company, so they do have the right to sue the president over the executive order. So they're going to sue him. Which will delay things. So there's no way that the 45-day limit is enforceable. But let's say they have 45 days, or let's say even if they do sue them, that ties up things in courts for a while. Let's say they have a year. They still are forced to sell it. Like at the end of everything, the odds of them winning a case domestically against them being banned is pretty low. So they are going to have to sell. So Microsoft has the upper hand in the negotiation because one, Microsoft wants to buy them, and two, they know that they have to sell to Microsoft. Otherwise, they're going to lose a shitload of money when it gets shut down in the United States because we're like one of their biggest demographics. So they're going to be forced to sell. But I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a bidding war. What I think you're going to see happen is Microsoft step forward as the interested party, but don't think they're the only interested party. I guarantee you that Google is eyeing them. I guarantee you that Bezos is eyeing them. And you're going to see a three-way, like as soon as Microsoft puts in their official bid, you're going to see the other companies dogpile on. And the price of that service is going to go through the freaking roof. I could see TikTok selling for literally 30, 40, 50 billion dollars.
You think that high?
Dude, Microsoft paid like, what did Microsoft just pay $11 billion for? Let's see here. Microsoft acquired companies. Let me see if I can find the list here. Here, I got it. Let's see. List of mergers and acquisitions by Microsoft. Let's see if they list the prices. Do they list? Oh, yeah, they list the value. Okay, so let me scroll. They've acquired literally hundreds of companies, but let me scroll to the end here. Okay, 27, 2018, 29. Okay, so so Affirm Networks. Have you ever even heard of Affirm Networks?
Are they the ones who do like your cell phone?
Yeah, they're a 5G network provider.
Things. Yeah, that's the ones like, if my phone breaks, I go through Affirm to get a new one.
Yep. So Microsoft paid $1.35 billion for that, for a company I've never even heard of. Let's see, they paid $7.5 billion for GitHub, dude. An open source site. They paid $7.5 billion for a site that basically just stores like GPL source code. It's crazy the money that they spend
on LinkedIn.
Let me see. Buy LinkedIn oh shit, $26.2 billion
for LinkedIn.
LinkedIn was purchased December 8th, 2016 for $26.2 billion.
In 2016.
In 2016 money. Yeah.
Mind blowing. See, I feel like they wouldn't spend that kind of money on TikTok.
Dude, you know how much they spent on Mohang? Just Minecraft. Well, Minecraft's big.
Oh, that was $1 billion.
$2.5 billion for a video game.
See, I can see, right, but there's a long-term outlook for buying Minecraft. You have merch, you have other spin-off games and things like that. And I feel like TikTok still hasn't really found the right way to monetize. Like I think TikTok advertising is still really weird.
I know a couple people that make a pretty good living off of it, so there's definitely something there.
Yeah, but it's not quite through like TikTok specifically. So TikTok for business, you can let's see, blah blah blah. So there is some things in there, like there's sponsored posts and things like that. So there is a monetization there. But it's not in the same way as like Instagram, right? But
once Microsoft owns it, they can change that.
And I think that's where they might spend some good money if they have a plan for how they're going to monetize. It's because like Snapchat had that problem not too long ago as well. That's why they kind of fell behind Instagram for a while. Is Instagram was better at finding ways of serving ads, and because Facebook, that's like what they do, and so there has to be a better a better way of doing ads in TikTok in a similar way to where you'll see ads in like your Instagram stories. Yeah, and like I said, there are sponsored posts. I have been scrolling through TikTok and I see, this post is sponsored, but I think that isn't a deliberate ad. I think someone is like promoting their normal published content. And I'm not sure. I haven't dug into it myself, but I think that's the way that is. And so, yeah, sure. I could see them spending I feel like it'd be less than 10 billion. Yeah. Because like the data aggregation from LinkedIn is worth 28 billion plus. Like there's so much data there. TikTok,
but here's the thing though, is like, yeah, I get from LinkedIn's perspective, there's a lot of data there, but still the user base for TikTok, that is a massive user base to acquire just to acquire the information that's been collected on everybody through that platform. Like that seems like a big deal. Now I'm not going to say it's like worth like 20, maybe not 20 billion. Maybe that was like a little pie in the sky. But keep in mind, Microsoft has made some crazy offers that didn't go through in the past. Like I want to say they offered like 80 billion for what was it? That search engine that nobody uses anymore.
Yahoo. They offered, no, it was like 4, I think.
Let's see, what did they offer for that? Because I know they turned it down.
Yeah, Yahoo said no.
And then they ended up signing some huge like 10-year deal. Which, like, what do they even do? Like, what does Yahoo even do anymore? Like, what makes it worth anything?
They bid 44 billion to buy Yahoo, and then I think Verizon ended up buying Yahoo.
44 billion?
Yeah.
Holy shit! And they said no?
Yeah.
Dude,
and then
Yahoo.
I think Verizon bought them for 4 million.
So the search.
Billion.
Oh my god! So the search engine that nobody uses anymore didn't even use at the time they made the offer. Let's be honest. Right. They turned down $40 billion and then ultimately had to sell for 4.
Yeah,
oh
and
my
it was only
god!
Just a few years later. It was yeah. And then I think Verizon like kind of was sad about it because like I think they tried to sell. They wanted to try and get rid of Yahoo.
Yeah.
Or some of the assets from it. They're like, man, this is a bad idea.
Dude, that's fucking crazy. How hard are crazy. How hard is the board of directors of that company kicking themselves in the ass though? 40 billion. They would have all walked away like just richer than they ever could in their entire lives. Microsoft would have did what they did with every company, just absorb the name and then just burn it to the ground like they did with Nokia. Yeah. And Beam and half a dozen other companies that didn't work out. Wow.
Oh shit, Verizon bought AOL in 2015.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did they do anything with it? Is AOL still a thing or is it dead? It's weird hearing about all these companies that like still exist. Like really?
They bought AOL for 4.4 and then
there's some big money flying between these companies, dude.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy.
Hey, what's up, Demon God? Thank you for those 10 pounds, dude. That is very generous of you. He said, hi, Barnacules Nerdgasm. Just wondering about your thoughts on how companies like Microsoft can ban users for TOS violations without explaining and take all their purchases. What this comes down to is they know that you really aren't going to sue them or you have any legal ability to attack them, so they just don't give a fuck and they just do it anyways. That's what it comes down to. Like, that's why Microsoft has no system for like a refund on Xbox Live. You call and you basically get like some third-party Indian company that's like, hello, my name is Habib. I will take your order. And nothing.
No, my name is Kyle.
Oh, no, it's Kyle from Texas. That's right. Hello, my name is Kyle from Texas. No, it's serious, though. It's all farmed out.
Carl,
It's all farmed out. If you call Microsoft tech support, you're not even getting a person that works for Microsoft or even contracted at Microsoft. You're getting a third-party support company that they pay to take calls. And I know because I've called, even as a Microsoft employee, I called them and I'm like, here is my badge number. This is the team I work on. This is my manager. You guys need to fix this fuck up on my billing for Xbox Live. And they're like, oh, we are sorry. There is no mechanism to do that. Don't worry. You'll have an extra year. Like, no, I want a refund. I want a refund because you double charged me. And I went out and looked and it happened to so many people. And the way that, so unless the only way to fight him really is to get a lawyer and have a cease and desist sent to, or not a C&D, but have a letter sent to them with intent of a lawsuit. And then somebody will get up off their ass and actually like give you a refund or unban you or, something to that degree. But no, you have to make an absolute stink with large companies like Microsoft. Same thing with Google, dude. So YouTube, let me tell you guys a little story. I'm going to tell you a little story, and I think I even have a prop here for you. So this is the prop. This is the story. And this is the actual print that caused all this hullabaloo. Does anybody? so what is that? What is that, AuxxZillary? What do you see there on your screen?
It's like a. Oh, they're Legos.
They're Legos. Okay. So I 3D printed these. Like, this is one of the first things I 3D printed when I got my Ultimaker original 3D printer like 7-8 years ago. And I'm actually longer than that. I was working at Microsoft at the time. I printed these out and I made a video, and the video got really popular. And they're actual functional Legos. They don't work too good. Yeah. They're PLA, so honestly, they have to be made out of ABS to really work well. But they do work, and they're they're functional. They don't fall apart. So, anyways, I print these, and my YouTube channel is growing like crazy. I think at the time I had like 20,000 subs, but back then that was considered a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I'm living large. I'm making my like $20 a month in ad revenue. I'm excited. It's actually more than that. I think it was a couple $100. So anyways, I'm sitting at work one day at Microsoft, and my email pops up on my little shitty flip phone, and it's like, your channel has been disabled through YouTube for copyright infringement. I'm like, the fuck? So I go look it up, and I open it up, and the big email says that my channel has been, and I mean, not this is before the strike system. This is like you violate a copyright, your whole channel has been shut down, and it had a legal, the company wasn't Lego, it was called something blah blah blah, Herald and something Enterprises LLC. And I call them up, and I'm like, what's going on? They're like, they have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, I'm like, dude, you guys like removed my YouTube channel. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Here, let me get somebody else on the phone. And they're like, oh yeah, no, we're a legal company that's basically tasked by Lego and other companies to basically go out and find copyright infringement on the internet and challenge it. So they basically took my video down because I put in the title 3D printing Legos, and they just looked at the title and then banned my video. They didn't look at the content of the video because my video is completely under fair use. So, and plus, I never really made Lego because these aren't Lego. You know why they're not Lego? Because this is made out of PLA. It's not made out of ABS, and it doesn't meet the dimensional standards. And even Lego themselves said that this does not violate in any way their copyrights. And so anyways, they closed my channel down. So now let me get back to like where this is relevant to what we were talking about. So I am panicking. I'm like, my fucking channel's dead. So I send an email to Google. Like, I go find their little support thing. I get back and things like, okay, blah, 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 you're in the queue. We'll reply back to you in like a couple of days. Takes like a week. I get a response back from them that's like, oh, we have determined that your channel is deleted and you cannot appeal this. I'm like, what? So then I call up literally Google on the phone. I find their public phone number. I call them up down in California, and I'm like, I need to speak to somebody there. My YouTube channel got shut. Sorry, this is YouTube. The Google didn't even own them then. It was YouTube. I called YouTube, and I'm like, can I talk to somebody? My channel got deleted unrightfully. I can't get them to undo the copyright. The legal company is standing their ground. What can I do? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. There's no number to call for that. She's like, this is actually like, the company. We don't handle that here. You have to send email to support. And I'm like, well, I already sent email to support. So then I sent mail to Lego, and this is over the course of weeks. This is like, I'm waiting like literally like a week in between each one of these calls and emails. And finally I contact Lego. And I'm like, you guys took my video down, and they're like, oh, we don't actually do that. They're like, we don't care if you 3D print Legos and stuff. Like, that doesn't bother us at all. They're like, we don't do that. And I was like, well, can you guys get the ban taken off my channel? They're like, well, to be quite frank, we don't even know how to fucking like start. How do we do that? I'm like, here's the legal company that banned my video. And they're like, we don't know who that legal company is. I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? So YouTube doesn't know who the company is that flagged my video on behalf of Lego, that banned my video for violating the copyright of Lego, and the legal company, when I call them, doesn't know how to contact Lego, and I contact YouTube, and nobody at YouTube knows how to like unban my channel. So I am really upset at this point because I put a lot of time into my YouTube channel. This is when I was working at Microsoft, and I finally just said fuck it, and I just gave up, and I told my wife, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to make, obviously I'm not starting a new channel. I'm just done. Fuck it. I'm not going to do it anymore. 3 months later, my channel was down for 3 months. If you look at like my social blade, I think over the course of my channel, you'll see a spot where like 3 months, my channel just goes down to zero views. And for 3 months, my channel was gone. I gave up on YouTube. I'm like, I'm not going to do it anymore. It was just a hobby. I was making a little bit of money. So I was mad about it, but it wasn't the end of the world. I was still working at Microsoft. So fast forward 3 months, and I get an email in my box from Lego. And Lego is like, hello, Ms. Berg, is there a number that we can contact you on? We would really like to talk to you and rectify this situation. And I'm like, shit, three months ago, I haven't sent any more emails. I haven't made any calls or anything. This is completely of their own volition after months. Huh. I don't know if maybe like something went down with the legal team or the relationship with the legal company, but whatever. Anyways, they're like, we want to talk to you. And so I'm like, yes, here's my phone number. You can call me on my cell phone. So I'm sitting at work. I get a call. I answer it, and it's literally one of the board of directors, like the CFO or something of Lego. Like, he's a higher up dude. He's like, hey, Mr. Berg, we're really sorry about what happened. Oh, I could have sued. I made every mistake you could. Wait for it. This story gets it's good ending, but I should have went fucking full send. I really screwed up and let my anger ruin it. So He's like, yeah, I'm really, really sorry about what happened. The legal company was blanket banning videos on YouTube. They weren't investigating. They weren't watching the videos. He's like, we are really, really sad that your channel got taken down. He's like, I hope you accept our apology. We'd like to make this right. Do you enjoy Lego? Would you like us to send you a bunch of Legos? Like, what would you like? Like, how do we make this right? And I was like, I want my YouTube channel back. And he's like, sir, we've already taken care of that. If you go look, your YouTube channel is reinstated. He's like, we went ahead and overturned. And sure enough, I went and logged into my YouTube channel. I'm like, yes, it's back. And I was like, super excited. But then the guy on the phone, he's like, what can we do to make this right? And it's like, you motherfuckers. And I just went off on him. I was like, you motherfuckers, can't believe you did this 3 months. My channel's down. You guys think you can just break the law like that? Nobody contact, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like being really nice on the phone. He's like, yeah, I'm really sorry that this happened. Like, what can we do to make it right? He's like, does your kid like Lego? Do you want us to send you just a shitload of or not my kid, sorry. I don't even think Xander was born at that time. He's like, do you want us to send you like Lego? He's like, do you want us just to send you a bunch of Lego? He's like, what do you like? Like, tell us what you want. We'll give you anything you want. And I was like, fuck you. And I hung up the phone. And I was like, and then later on that day, I was thinking about it and I was like, fuck, I probably could have told him to like back up a goddamn 53-foot trailer to my house and offload like $3 billion in Lego Mindstorm and they would have done it. And I was like, no, I realized what I did later. And then I tried to contact him back and I couldn't get the guy back on the line. Like no matter what I did, calling him, emailing, I could never get past like the first line. Like it was one of those things where it's like, he had to call me. Right. And so I was like, son of a bitch. So I had to let it go. And I was like, dude, I literally could have just got them to give me like $100,000 in Lego and I could have sold that shit on like eBay.
Yeah, probably.
And hindsight's 2020, but I was like, fuck you. I was so mad. And I closed the phone and I'm like, you son of a bitch. And I'm like, oh shit, what'd I just do? So I've learned to rein in my temper a little bit since then. But the good news is I got my channel back. They did remove the ban. The strike got removed completely. So there was no grace period on there or anything. And then after that, and the other thing that sucked too, by the way, is I was partnered with an MCM at the time. That's how I was able to monetize my channel. Because back then you had to be with an intermediate company. And I was with the MCM and the MCM was going to come after me for breach of contract. Like, even though I was only making like $200 a month because I got my channel banned off YouTube, they basically like considered that a breach of contract since I signed a year contract and they were supposed to get like some of my revenue. And because I wasn't generating any revenue anymore, my channel was banned. They considered that my fault. And they're like, oh, we may follow up on legal proceedings. Unless you pay us, blah, blah, blah. And I just ignored them. I just ignored them until my channel finally came back and they stopped threatening me. I think that was, who was it? Not Full Screen. It was like Maker something. Shit, I can't even remember the MCM. It started with Maker. But I was like, fucking A, man. So I was mad. I was mad from all angles, but I just could not believe that I just told like, basically like the CFO of like Lego to just fuck off and like hung up on him when he was like trying to give me like thousands of dollars and shit to like make things right. And the truth is I could have sued him. That's the other thing. The other mistake is I don't like suing people unless it's absolutely necessary. But I could have, because they took 3 months of my revenue away. They took away the velocity of my channel. They slowed down the growth. Even when the channel came back on and got turned back online, I had to make a shitload of content just to get back to where I already was. And so that was really disheartening that they did that to me. So I literally could have sued them for like massive damages and all that stuff, but I'm just not a suing person. So I only sue when it's if it's somebody who's trying to file like a frivolous lawsuit against me or something like that, then I sue. If it's somebody who's coming after me like through through using like the police department or something like that, or using fraud or something like that, then I'll sue. But in most cases, I'm not a suing guy. Like that's not something that I want to do. That's a last resort, basically to if somebody's going around and just doing like slap suits and stuff like that, then yeah, my natural inclination is to slap back. But other than that, no, I'm not the suing type. But it's an interesting story because it's like literally printing that little bit of plastic right there cost my YouTube channel 3 months of growth back in its prime. But I was more shocked that they even called me back though, because like I didn't have any contact with them for like 2 months. And they just out of the blue, like email me and say, hey, somebody needs to call you. And the dude legitimately calls me. And I'm like, what brought me back on their radar? Because I wasn't doing anything. Like the YouTube channel, I didn't do anything because it was completely suspended. I didn't do anything on it for months. And I wasn't like back then, like social media, I think it was like MySpace or something like that. Like I didn't do a lot on social media. I wasn't talking about it. I was just focused on work. So I wonder what brought that up. Like after 2 months, like with the executive, like what happened with that legal firm? Or maybe did somebody sue them? Like maybe they shut down a channel and they shut down the wrong fucker's channel and he actually did sue them. And then they're like, oh shit, okay, we're getting all these lawsuits now. We should probably go undo this damage. And then maybe my name came up, but they never said. They honestly never said. So I really don't know. Oh shit, man. You know, we got like 2 topics left, and it's already 1.
Oops.
Time
we'll just
flies.
roll over to next week. It's all right.
Yeah. Actually, the one that I do want to touch on just a little, though, is the massive Intel data leak, if people didn't hear about that.
That's that's kind of an interesting one.
So,
I'm
yeah,
curious,
you want to kick that one off?
I'm just interested in see how, like, what effect this really has. So, apparently, it seems that someone with some sort of access. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's not the link I wanted. There we go. It seems that someone with access to a like a vendor portal, some sort of this was access that they were given. This is from Intel. They're saying that the breach, it wasn't like a hack. Not really. They didn't get unauthorized access, but somehow provided access in order to gain more privileged access to download a bunch of source code, internal docs, a bunch of NDA stuff about like processes, all kinds of stuff. 20 gigs worth of. We're talking. Here's a bit of a list. There's Intel ME bring up guides, tooling, samples for various platforms, Kaby Lake BIOS reference code and sample code for initialization code. There's Silicon FSP source code packages for various platforms. I don't know what a lot of this means. Various roadmaps and other documents, binaries for camera drivers, Intel made for SpaceX, schematics, docs, tools, and firmware for the unreleased Tiger Lake platform. That'll be interesting to see if anything comes out of that. Very horrible Kaby Lake FDK training videos, because everybody knows corporate training videos are
they're the best, though. I can't wait to see those.
Marketing material templates for various schematics, debug BIOS builds for various platforms, all kinds of stuff. And,
that's a big leak from a company, especially when they're falling so far behind. And you bet your ass AMD is going to get their hands on it. Like, AMD can't publicly say that. They can't have their employees do it, but they could use this.
I would like to qualify. They're falling behind in the consumer market.
Fair enough.
People forget that Intel does a lot more than just the core stuff, the core i9, the core i series stuff. Like, their data, what's the right word? Data center market is enormous. It's like, okay. I think Intel has like a 40% market share of data center stuff. Their enterprise level business is just monstrous. Nobody touches Intel. Maybe IBM.
Well, now tomorrow everybody's going to touch them because they got all their corporate secrets.
It seems that a lot of this was more consumer related. They mentioned some Verilog stuff for various Xeon platforms. But just the keywords that I'm seeing in this seems more consumer related. Except for maybe there's like this camera stuff about SpaceX and various roadmaps and things. But there's mention of Rocket Lake and Tiger Lake and Kaby Lake. That's all consumer stuff. So,
well, do you think they'll get their ass sued off by Elon Musk for basically leaking like his shit? Like,
nah. Camera drivers for SpaceX.
Yeah, you better hope it doesn't have like the wireless protocol that they're like sniffing the cameras through and people start like intercepting the stream and shutting down the cameras like during launches and shit.
That would be fun. Yeah. But like, I guess what happened was the guy whoever did this, already had some sort of access, legitimate access, and was able to find a server that had a weak password. It says, using a custom Python script, the hacker claims they were able to test for default username access and unsecured access to files and folders. And so, I guess they were able to find out one name in particular, and they were then able to go back to the root directory and get access. So it's, so in a statement, Intel said that the data appears to be from the Intel Resource and Design Center. Did not speculate on the breach method, but said that the leak may be from someone with access to the portal.
Wow.
So they are investigating the situation. The information appears to come from the Intel Resource and Design Center, which hosts information for use by our customers, partners, and other external parties who have registered for access. We believe an individual with access downloaded and shared this data. So it seems like they had some normal, legitimate privilege and access to something, and then they were able to use that to get into and not necessarily elevate privileges either. They just found a way into the storeroom and then found a box that had a shitty lock on it and was able to get into stuff that they wouldn't normally have been able to.
Wow. Nintendo also had a big breach just recently too. So it seems a lot of these companies are their weaknesses are starting to show. I think
it's always people though. Somebody put a weak ass password or yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping up. The face mask versus facial recognition was pretty much
that was a goof.
That's a goof because like Facebook, of course it fucks with facial recognition. You can't see half your face.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there,
dude. If your facial recognition,
somebody. It's like, and it was The Verge. Okay, yeah. I thought it was just funny. The Verge wrote an article about how face masks are breaking facial recognition algorithms. Like, no shit.
Yeah,
that's all.
Just expect some in the future. Expect some crazy security shit to come out because two-factor still isn't even enough. Like with social engineering and stuff like that, you can work around all that shit. So it's like we expect like some crazy biometric shit to come down the pipe here pretty soon.
I think physical keys will be the next step. You'll have to plug a thing in and then have another layer of verifications. You'll plug in your Google key and scan your thumb on your phone or some other sort of two-part authentication with a physical access key like Lexus. I used to take old equipment from LexisNexis. They're a huge legal data firm. They have like gobs of just look up LexisNexis. But they had these cool little keys that every 60 seconds would generate a new like 7 or 8 digit number. Yeah. And that was linked to the software in some way, and you would need that key, that code, to access like their databases and stuff. And I think some sort of solution like that is going to end up being.
Microsoft already does that too with like their smart card system. You have to actually have like an embedded chip that can't be cloned. Like if you try to clone it, it no longer has the properties of being physical. Like it has to actually go through a reader, and then the chips and the readers are like highly controlled and only produced by like one company in the world. Yeah. So I'm not going to say it's foolproof. There's no such thing as foolproof. You could probably still call up Microsoft and like bullshit your way through security if you're a really good social engineer and get some level of access somewhere. But it's still better than just a human with a password and two-factor authentication where somebody could just steal your cell phone or walk in and convince like an employee of a cell phone company to clone your SIM and give it to them. Humans are always going to be the weak point. So if you have like really, really classified shit that your company has, the people that have access to that, you need to make sure that those people are the ones that are most locked down and most highly trained in security. And that's the one thing companies really do fail at. Even at Microsoft, is like they never pulled us into conference rooms and be like, hey, listen, if you get a call, you need to hang up and call back to make sure it wasn't a spoofed number. If you get a call from somebody from security, notice that you will never get asked this, and this, and you should never answer with this, or this. Like we never got any of that training. So it's like you'd get random calls in your office and be like, this is from IPsec. Can you please give us password to network or whatever? And be like, dude, you know the password to network. You're fucking IPsec. Oh, we just want to make sure you know it. Like... Fine, click, and it's like the smart people could figure it out, but the PMs and stuff that weren't really technical people would fall for that shit, and Microsoft pay for it. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for another epic tech talk, and I think I'm gonna move my Twitch stream to tomorrow. So tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific over on Twitch. You guys can find me over there. And thank you to all of our super chatters. Thank you for keeping us eating.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys are absolutely amazing. Arnaldo, thank you so much for that $20. Holy shit, dude. And thank you so much, Chatterbox, for that $50. I don't know where you guys are getting this money, but we're glad that you're giving it to us. Yeah. And we super appreciate it. And we will see you next week. Same bad time, same bad place. And until then, you know where to find us. All of our links are in the video description if you want to chat us up in between shows. And I'm going to go ahead and find the end button here and go eat some lunch.